Try it yourself. Hamura was a little surprised. This is unlikely. It requires a lot of training. The will is the most difficult to exercise. It can actually be expressed in the form of your pupil power. It will be very simple after you integrate the original will. Hamura shook his head. He didn't doubt whether Neji could break through, but it would take a long time. After observing for so long, Neji's talent and perseverance made him very amazed, but his will is not so easy to break through. No, I don't want to give up like this, otherwise I will never catch up with Kuan Yu. Neji looked to the side Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu was taken aback for a moment. Neji hadn't given up yet. No wonder he could break through the limits of his body so quickly and exhaust his potential to this level. Kuan Yu. This is unlikely. Kuan Yu is not something you can catch. Even if we raise your power to the limit, you will only have the same power as him, but you are far less powerful than him. He is the most powerful. Special. Yui walked over and said. Kuan Yu has the soul endurance ability that other people don't possess, can endure more bloodline, so that he can almost perfect the power of every attribute of the master. Don't hit Neji like that. I can still be caught up now, Kuan Yu smiled. I watched you step by step from weak to strong, even strong to unsurpassable. My crazy practice is to reach you, but the reality makes me desperate, and your growth rate is too fast. Neji lowered his head. But I didn't give up. Despite the bruises and bruises, how could I be your opponent that caged bird couldn't crack? Neji raised his head and smiled at Kuan Yu. Then. 8 inner gates, 3rd gate, life gate, open. The 4th gate, the wounded gate, 5th gate, Doman. 6th gate, king gate, open it to me. In an instant, Neji drove directly to the 6th gate, and the green chakra rose directly into the sky. Hey, chakra is not needed for the breakthrough of will. What do you do with 8 inner gates? Kuan Yu said in surprise. Ms. Guy said that the opening of the 8th gate requires the strongest will. Only my will proves that I will surpass you. 7th gate, surprise the door, open it for me. Neji's body has reached its limit. His whole body has been flushed red by the powerful chakra, and his blood vessels have burst, as if he was about to explode at any time. Blue steam appeared on Neji's body. Let me go. What is in Mr. Guy's head? 8th gate is not based on will alone. Stop quickly. Even if you strengthened your body before, you can't take it anymore. Kuan Yu was ready to step forward to stop it. Stop. I can't break through. I'm willing to die. According to your arrangement, I will never be able to surpass you. Let me make a choice. Kagaya was also a little shocked. He knew that the power was right in front of him, and he would soon be able to get powerful power. He would rather die, but also want to break through by himself. Mother, this is the difference between humans and us, and therefore they can burst out stronger will, Yui said. But he is about to die, and if chakra increases, he may be crushed all over, Kagaya said. She could see through Neji's body at a glance. There are some things that can stop him without death, and it is precisely this way that the world becomes colorful, Yui said. Kuan Yu was helpless. He didn't expect Neji to be so fierce. Kuan Yu. Hamura glanced at Kuan Yu. A wave of consciousness came into his mind. Forget it. He won't be happy if he doesn't try. Kuan Yu shook his head. Hamura meant to drain Neji's chakra directly through the giant Tensigan so that he could not continue. But such a thing might make Neji feel helpless from now on. Caged bird will also be the shadow of his life. The current situation is that Neji either breaks through the limits of his will, or is abolished. It was useless to save Kuan Yu. I can feel the existence of restrictions. This is the shackles of my life. Neji said hard. His strong will to break through made him clearly feel the limit. He could also feel the pain in his body, but he knew it was not enough. My current strength is not enough to break through it. Neji was slightly lost. If it doesn't work, just forget it. You just don't have enough accumulation, Kuan Yu said. Kuan Yu. Thank you. Without you, I might not know that caged bird can still break through, and my life will be meaningless. Neji said quietly, as if the chakra on his body had also calmed down. Kuan Yu sighed in his heart. He knew that caged bird was the eternal pain in Neji's heart. Although he has understood, this is not to limit him. But he still wants to break through the shackles of fate by himself. Since Kuan Yu hasn't finished yet. 8 inner gates, the 8th gate, the dead door, open. Neji covered his chest and said while looking at Kuan Yu. What? Kuan Yu's eyes widened. Death, stop now. He didn't expect Might Guy to teach the most dangerous 8th gate, and Neji also used it. More intense chakra fluctuations emerged. A blood-red flame ignited on Neji. His eyes became a little decisive. Puff. Neji's arm exploded a layer of blood, and his body could no longer bear it. But there is no pain on his face. Still not working? His voice was a little low. Give up. I can still save you. Kuan Yu shook his head and said. He could feel Neji's will breaking through, but it was quickly suppressed. Neji used the threat of death to make the final breakthrough, but it still failed. Kuan Yu, fight me one last time, I don't want to die so meaningless. He didn't listen to Kuan Yu's words at all. Maybe he didn't want to give up. Maybe he was dead in his heart. So when it opened the dead door, it was so decisive. There are many choices in life. Maybe they are not sensible, but too sensible can make people very boring. Kuan Yu looked at Neji, feeling a little regretful. Couldn't even Neji's belief in death be able to break through the last limitation of caged bird? Good. Kuan Yu stood up. Neji smiled. He knew Kuan Yu would not refuse his request. Kuan Yu took a deep breath. His hair turned golden in an instant and stood up, and some golden chakra wrapped around him. Are you breathing? Neji saw at a glance what Kuan Yu was using. He also opened the 5th layer of activation, and he couldn't be more familiar with this. Yes, this is a state comparable to the deadlock of 8 inner gates, and it is also the limit of breathing method, Kuan Yu said. Unlike 8 inner gates, Kuan Yu's breathing method is more important to chakra's controllability. The 8 inner gates pays more attention to the body's ability to withstand it. As long as the body can withstand it, opening the door is actually very easy. But once the body cannot bear it, it may collapse directly. Very well, I don't have much time, let's get started. He knew that with Kuan Yu's ability, starting this transformation would not die like him. Kuan Yu nodded. In an instant, their bodies disappeared. This time even Kagaya was shocked. It was the first time that she saw someone's physical skills comparable to Kuan Yu. This speed even looked a little vague to her. Boom, the two of them appeared in the air instantly, their feet hitting each other directly. A wave of fluctuations exploded directly and spread to the surroundings. Then the ground was directly reduced to smash. This blow made Kagaya directly feel the fluctuation of space. And the corners of Neji's mouth also spilled blood. A blood vessel on the thigh exploded directly, splashing a mist of blood and disappearing into the bloody flames. However, Kuan Yu remained unchanged, his body was strong enough to withstand this level of attack. Their bodies disappeared again. The sound of constant collision came, and the wave of terror was constantly emanating. Neji's body is definitely comparable to the might guy in the original book. Neji never chose Gentle Fist anymore, but went straight to Gangchen, and Izumi went head to head. Maybe he wants to get rid of the Hyuga clan at the last moment, or his fate. The two are so fast that they can no longer see the figure, and can only be seen during a brief collision. Neji, who can't fly, can move freely in the sky. Their attacks can already affect space, and floating through the air couldn't be easier for them. But soon, bang, a figure shot towards the ground, and a burst of smoke exploded on the ground. Kuan Yu's figure appeared and slowly fell to the ground. Obviously Kuan Yu is better. But Kuan Yu didn't exert much strength, otherwise Neji would not hold on for less than one round. Stop it. I can still save you, cough. Neji walked out of the smoke, who was still covered in blood. Kuan Yu just repelled Neji just now, and didn't hurt him. Kuan Yu. Do you know how unwilling I am? Destiny left me a shackle from the beginning. I know, Kuan Yu nodded. Then let me break through it. The blood flames on Neji's body skyrocketed. Take out all your power. I don't want you to look down on me, Neji yelled frantically. Kuan Yu was silent. He could see the pain in Neji's eyes, unwilling, desperate. He seemed to vent all his emotions. Kuan Yu. The blood flame on Neji's body was still expanding, and then he rushed towards Kuan Yu in an instant. The violent blood flame caused the ground to be continuously destroyed, as if it had condensed into substance. Drink, Kuan Yu didn't hesitate anymore, and a golden chakra burst out of his body. Bang, the ground exploded in an instant. Kuan Yu resisted Neji's attack, and the blood flames and the golden chakra were constantly intertwined. The airwaves are constantly erupting. He is dying, Kagaya said. The airwave was separated in front of them and did not affect them. Kuan Yu won't let him die, but it's a pity that he still can't break through, Hamura shook his head and said. The time is too short. Although he is trying his best to break through, he has a limit no matter how he explodes, Yui said. The ground under Kuan Yu's feet was constantly cracking, and his body was constantly retreating. He could see Neji's body disintegrating in the violent blood flames, skin, flesh and blood. But he still insisted. Neji raised his head as if looking at Kuan Yu on the opposite side. But Kuan Yu knew that his consciousness had been blurred, and it was his will to persist until now. The blood flames are slowly disappearing, and Neji has reached the limit. But Izumi wrinkled at the moment Neji looked up, as if he saw something. It shocked him suddenly. Kuan Yu opened one eye between his eyebrows. Bang! The blood flame on Neji's body was instantly disintegrated, and Kuan Yu stretched out his hand and directly pressed Neji's head. Holds his body. At this time, Neji had no consciousness, and only charred bones remained all over his body. Only the head and the upper part of the body were relatively intact. But it has also been dilapidated. It's over, let's go, Yui said, shaking his head. Hamura nodded. Death is of little significance to them, and they can be resurrected at any time. Kuan Yu, you are ready. He's not dead yet, he succeeded. A pure golden chakra emerged from Kuan Yu's hand and injected it into Neji's body. This is pure yang escape, that is, vitality. He is keeping Neji alive. What? Hamura exclaimed. Then they looked at Neji's forehead, where the mark was disappearing. But they can still feel the existence of Neji's soul. I'll leave first. Kuan Yu opened the space door and entered the space door with Neji's remaining body. Hamura and Hai glanced at each other, and their eyes were full of shock. Even Kagaya couldn't believe it, but broke through at the last moment. This was a scene she had never experienced before, which shocked her heart incomparably. And there was another person in the distance looking at this place quietly, who was attracted by the fluctuations of the battle. Unexpectedly, he reached this level by himself. His eyes were also full of shock. In a transparent glass trough, a body that had been damaged so badly was floating in it. And one hand was pressing on the glass trough, and light golden energy was continuously injected into that body. Da. How are you preparing? Kuan Yuhui glanced at Orochimaru, who had just entered. The materials have been prepared, but are you sure he can still accept this degree of transformation now? His body has been completely destroyed. Orochimaru walked to Kuan Yu and looked at Neji in the glass trough. He also didn't know what happened to the person in front of him. His body was destroyed like this. And the pale golden energy in Kuan Yu's hands should be used to maintain his vitality. No problem, you can start, Kuan Yu said. In fact, Kuan Yu can also directly use Neji's remaining cells to give birth to his body, but this consumes Neji's potential too much. Most of the cells in the body have been damaged, so it's better to have a complete transformation. That's why he came here. Orochimaru. Okay, I'm going, but I need to limit the cell's activity, otherwise his transition will be swallowed soon, Orochimaru said. No restrictions, he won't be swallowed. Tenseigion's connection is still there. It is too easy to suppress cells that have much weakened phagocytic capacity. Being restricted by Orochimaru, it might not be perfect. As you wish, Orochimaru smiled. He certainly knew who Kuan Yu was. He won't do things that are uncertain. Just like the previous battle, no one knew that Kuan Yu's strength had quietly improved to that level. He has been hiding from beginning to end, even now he may still be hiding. Orochimaru took out a test tube and put it in a card slot under the glass tank. Then began the operation. A robotic arm with a tube stretched out in the glass trough. The tip of his arm pierced Neji's chest directly. The cells have been injected, but it will take a certain amount of time to function, Orochimaru said with the robotic arm retracted. I don't have so much time, Kuan Yu smiled. However, if these cells are stimulated, their phagocytic ability will greatly increase. Orochimaru frowned. Do not worry, Kuan Yu's eyes flashed with precision. The pale golden energy in his hand became more concentrated, continuously injecting into Neji's body. Directly into the place where Neji's chest had just injected the cells, white granulation sprouts out, then attached to his body, and began to expand continuously. The light green liquid in the glass tank quickly became transparent. Add culture fluid, Kuan Yu said. The consumption is too fast, and Neji's body will be absorbed as nutrients without supplementation. Yes, Orochimaru hurriedly changed the culture medium. The granulation is constantly being formed, and the originally scorched area of Neji's body quickly falls off. His body is recovering quickly. Neji originally had sage body, and the difference between Kuan Yu's cells and Kuan Yu's cells was very small. Even when Kuan Yu used his vitality to spawn perfectly, the remaining body was not damaged. Instead, they merged together. The best way to use vitality to give birth is to greatly reduce the number of cell divisions. The maximum potential is retained. We must know that Hashirama cells also have their limits. They cannot be spawned indefinitely. The cells that form later become weaker. This is also the reason why Kuan Yu dare not overexhaust his potential. Excessive use will weaken his body. And now Kuan Yu's cells are almost the strongest, stronger than Hashirama. This is the result of his continuous strengthening of his body. His body is no longer what ordinary people did before, and needs to go through constant destruction and repair to become stronger. His cells would not divide at all without being injured. These cells are too strong to be destroyed. The vitality is also compensated by the outside world, and there will be no consumption. Only by constantly bearing stronger gravity to improve the adaptability of the cell can he become stronger. Neji's body quickly became complete under the urging of vitality. But he still closed his eyes. Kuan Yu retracted his hand, his eyes lit up slightly, and his pupils were mobilized to spread out. And Neji's eyelids trembled slightly, as if sensing something. Then a pair of Byakugan suddenly opened. His eyes were a little confused. Can't help taking a breath. Well, Kuan Yu was taken aback. Before, Neji didn't even breathe, and he was hanging by Kuan Yu's vitality, and he didn't even think about breathing. Just now, Kuan Yu used pupil power to directly stimulate Neji's consciousness recovery, causing him to breathe involuntarily. The result was choking. Wow! Orochimaru opened the drainage device, and immediately a large amount of solution was drained. Neji squatted on the ground and coughed constantly. Sorry, I forgot just now, Kuan Yu said embarrassingly. Now Neji's body is almost new and has not been exercised. You can imagine how uncomfortable it is to be choked on such a bite. It took a long time before Neji recovered. At this time Orochimaru had raised the glass cover. Am I dead? Neji said blankly, sitting on the ground. You are not so easy to die in front of me. Even if you really die, you can save you, Kuan Yu said with a smile. It seems that my previous actions didn't make sense, Neji said sadly. Why doesn't it make sense? Didn't you break through? Kuan Yu said with a smile. What? I broke through, Neji couldn't believe it. Let's see for yourself. An ice mirror appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. Neji looked at himself in the mirror, his forehead had become smooth, and the original green mark had completely disappeared. As long as there is enough time, and when the original will of your self-pregnancy is accumulated enough, you can start Tensigan on your own. However, we are not prepared to give you so much time. You must listen to my arrangements this time. Kuan Yu said dissatisfiedly. Obviously you can easily unlock Caged Bird after cultivating immortality, but in the end you have to try it yourself. It's all right now, and your body practice is completely abolished. Originally, I was just preparing to inject a little bit to let you cultivate slowly. As a result, your body was basically completely destroyed, and it was about to start again. Neji was a little embarrassed. He could feel that although his current body was very energetic, it was also very weak, as if he had just been reborn. I will work hard and come back, Neji said seriously. Well, that's it. This is the Neji I know. The body is absolutely fundamental. Don't rely too much on the eyes or chakra. Otherwise your strength will reach the limit soon, and the body has no limit. Kuan Yu encouraged. Even the Otsutsuki clan didn't realize that the body that they didn't care much about was the strongest force. Although it requires constant practice, it can surpass the limit. Orochimaru thoughtfully. Kuan Yu's body is indeed very strong, even to the level of pervert, but his strongest power does not seem to be this. It's the kind of terrifying light waves, but why does he say that? I understand, Neji nodded. Kuan Yu was very pleased that someone finally agreed with his statement. Otherwise, he just told Kagaya and the others, they might not care either. I only think that chakra is the strongest. Kuan Yu also gains absolute strength by controlling chakra. But this is not the case, and it is definitely not empty talk that he can make progress. Izumi glanced at Orochimaru. Orochimaru also noticed Kuan Yu's gaze. Although I can't give you the original will like Neji, you can grab it. You know, there are many people in the Otsutsuki clan. I have time to improve your strength, Kuan Yu said. Orochimaru had entered 6 paths mode somehow, although Kuan Yu pulled out Ghost Loya, but his body had been changed. The power of the 5 elements of yin and yang of the already master will not disappear, but it is limited by chakra and cannot be used again. But once you have enough original will, you can still use Truth-Seeking Ball. The source of will Kuan Yu will not provide him, but he can grab other Otsutsukis. It is a branch house, and it has a not weak original will. Thanks for your advice, I will, Orochimaru smiled. Of course he knew that it was very difficult for him to hide some strength from Kuan Yu. However, Kuan Yu still gave him a chance. Otsutsuki? This is the best way to become stronger. Well, I will send you to Mount Myoboku to practice immortality. The natural energy there is strong enough. Although the practice method is a bit tasteless, it still has a certain effect. Plus my advice, if it still doesn't work, just grind it slowly by yourself, and it will be much simpler when the original will naturally merges. For this, Kuan Yu couldn't help it. The practice of those toads was barely useful, of course. Kuan Yu would not allow Neji to use things like toad oil. Neji nodded, and Kuan Yu opened the space door to send Neji over, and returned to Orochimaru after giving an explanation. Is there any eyebrows about Shiba's sealing technique for lowering consciousness? Kuan Yu asked. Not yet, the point is that I don't know what kind of state it is. Orochimaru shook his head and said. You may have guessed what I am going to do, Kuan Yu said to Orochimaru with a smile. Of course I know, this may have something to do with Shanshu, Orochimaru said directly. The contract has been signed, and there is no need to hide it. Yes, the practice of immortal art is to reduce the fluctuation of the spirit in order to feel the natural energy, but it is difficult for ordinary people to do this at all, so I want to solve it through the sealing technique, Kuan Yu said. But even if it is designed, it can't be used in battle. The reduction of mental fluctuation will definitely change the ideology, and it will not be able to fight at all, Orochimaru said puzzledly. Yes, so this is not for the main body, but the clone. The clone and the main body are connected through the seal technique. The main body provides chakra, and the clone concentrates on absorbing natural energy to synthesize the fairy technique chakra. Kuan Yu was a little helpless. No one accepts his proper nouns, aura, and true essence. This can only be done after the time is slowly consuming. That's it. Orochimaru nodded. But even if you bypass the restrictions like this, there are not many that can be cultivated. Shanshu training requires a lot of chakra to suppress the Shanshu chakra. Not everyone has this condition, Orochimaru continued. Of course, the amount of chakra is actually related to the body and mental strength. The previous ninjas needed a lot of chakra to fight, which consumes the body's potential too much. It is not realistic to want to accumulate more chakra, but now there is nothing to fight. Why don't you practice well? Slowly accumulating will arrive in one day. This is the first stage. What kind of magic is he still practicing if he can't finish this? I can only say that he has no talent, Kuan Yu said. The road has been opened up for you, and you still can't make progress. Who is to blame? I understand, I will work harder, but there are too few seals that affect the soul, and the research is very difficult, Orochimaru said with a smile. It is not used for the soul. It does not need to be too strong. It only works on the will. It is troublesome to divide the soul and it will hurt the soul. Shadow clone is actually a clone of their own will. They can also absorb natural energy by reducing mental fluctuations. Kuan Yu tried to explain clearly to Orochimaru, otherwise he would be in trouble if he misinterpreted Kuan Yu's meaning. But then they still can't master the magic by themselves, Orochimaru said. Of course, it depends on the talent. If sage mode is maintained for a long time, and they still can't let their master enter sage mode on their own, it means that they don't have this talent. However, as chakra continues to cultivate the soul, it will also produce the original will, and the difficulty of cultivating the fairy will be reduced step by step. But if you are not diligent in cultivation, chakra's reserves are too low, and the quality is not good, then the speed of cultivation will slow down, and it may be old before he waits for his master Shanshu. It takes a long time to cultivate the original will in this way, so you have to seize the opportunity. Kuan Yu looked at Orochimaru and said. Orochimaru knows what Kuan Yu is talking about. I see, this sealing technique is easy to solve, but there is no clue in reducing mental fluctuations. Kuan Yu thought for a while, and there were already very few seals on the soul. It has to be redesigned, and this will consume a lot of time. I will assemble all the sealing techniques in this area for your reference. I hope you will soon, Kuan Yu said. The others are okay, but what I want most is caged bird. This seal should be related to the soul and is quite powerful, Orochimaru said. There was a sudden movement in Kuan Yu's heart. He almost forgot that he still has a master in sealing technique. Those who can design caged bird are not low in sealing skills. Orochimaru probably remembered this when he saw Neji, and the curse seal disappeared after the death of Hyuga Branch House, which also proved that the curse seal was related to the soul. Yes, even I can bring you the person who created this technique, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Orochimaru was slightly surprised, but he was not very surprised to see Kuan Yu's various magical abilities during this time. Then Kuan Yu opened the space door and left, and it didn't take long for Kuan Yu to bring Hamura over. It's him. Orochimaru's heart was shocked. He thought that Kuan Yu was going to resurrect someone, but he didn't expect that it was the brother of Sage of Six Paths who created Caged Bird. Kuan Yu has already told me, then I will cooperate with you to create this seal, Hamura said lightly. It's good for me to communicate with seniors wherever they are, and seniors also admire their seal technique skills. In front of Hamura, who didn't know how long he had lived, Orochimaru also called himself a junior. Hamura nodded. Okay, the matter has been explained clearly, and I'm going to do my business too. Kuan Yu opened the space door and left. He was too busy to deal with many things, and even temporarily put aside his cultivation. Soon the First World Congress of Ninja World began. The attendees were not only people from the 5 major countries, but also a large number of small countries around it. The sphere of influence of the Sky Council is constantly expanding. Some undeveloped areas are also waiting to be explored. The world is not small. In addition to the ocean, there are also other continents, but because they are too far away, there is no connection. There are even other races, and these will become the focus of the future development of the shinobi world. Izumi, Yuri, and Kagaya, as well as Hamura and Hai, attended this meeting. But none of them spoke. Neji is mainly talking about it. That's right, Neji. He was directly appointed by Kuan Yu as the next speaker of the Sky Council, and he was pulled from Mount Myoboku. Everyone was surprised now. They didn't think that the Sky Council had completed the alternation of power so quickly. Even the speaker is just a lesser-known person, and most people don't know him. The Hyuga family was even more horrified. Not just the caged bird on Neji's forehead disappeared. And Neji is actually the next speaker. How much power does this have? Hyuga Hiyashi felt dizzy in his brain. Many people don't understand why Kuan Yu found his heir so quickly. Obviously he was still very young. Kuan Yu, you did it on purpose. Who is not good for you to find? Find me, Neji said as he walked. It's not an important position. Once you find a replacement, you can also resign, Kuan Yu said with a smile next to him. Unimportant? I believe you a ghost. Just going to meet the dignitaries of various countries makes Neji extremely big head. Even Kuan Yu's teacher Tsunade-sama saluted him, which made him extremely embarrassed. Well, isn't I busy? My cultivation plan has been delayed for a long time, Kuan Yu said. I want to practice too. I haven't got a clue about the fairy technique. Where is there so much time management? Neji said. Didn't there be congressmen? You can squeeze them. Kuan Yu opened a door after speaking. Then several eyes fell on Kuan Yu, with some dissatisfaction in it. Obviously, what Kuan Yu said just now was heard by them. Soon these eyes fell on Neji. Neji stiffened. He clearly knew that Kuan Yu was deliberate. Hello everyone, Kuan Yu smiled. I saw these people sitting around the conference table with a tail beast on their shoulders. Gaara, Kakashi, Killer Bee, Naruto, these are all determined before. Gaara also resigned from the position of Feng. And the choices of other tail beasts were not beyond Kuan Yu's expectation. They were all chosen from among the 5 great nations. The talents of small countries are far less than those of the 5 big countries. However, with development in the future, the gap will gradually become smaller, and small countries will also produce talents. Among them, Niu chose a female ninja from Thunder Country, who seemed to be named Samui. I heard that he is a good talent, and 4th Raikage has been heartbroken for a long time. The choice of 4 tails is somewhat incomprehensible. It is actually Might Guy. I don't know what kind of consideration Mr. Tsunade actually asked Guy to run for the legislature. The key is that he was really elected. The choice of 5 tails is also very strange, actually chose Hinata. This was not arranged by Tsunade, but Hinata volunteered to come. Tsunade also had the idea of making up the number, so he agreed that Hinata came, but he didn't expect it to be. Now she was looking at Naruto with a blushing face, and she knew what she was thinking without even looking. 6 tails chose Chojuro from Water Country. 7 tails chose Black Soil. She was going to inherit the position of Tsuchikage from her grandfather. But her grandfather's death made her very sad, and for some reason she chose to participate in this election. After the successful election, people from the land came to Kuan Yu many times. Obviously they are not willing to give up the most suitable heir to Tsuchikage. This is mainly because Onogi has too many supporters in Rock Shinobi. But the tail beast had no choice but to choose, so Kuan Yu told them that after becoming a counselor, they could choose to resurrect a person. This surprised the Black Soil, and immediately asked Kuan Yu to revive her grandfather. She was also the first person to use this right. Others still don't know, or don't care so much. At this point, all 9 members have gathered. However, many people's ability to do things is not up to the standard, and they need to exercise for some time. Fortunately, there are not many things at present, and cooperation between countries is also in the groping stage, and they still have time to grow. That is, the country of fire accounts for too much of the parliamentarians, almost half. Even the speaker is from the country of fire. This is something that Tsunade did not expect. It also caused dissatisfaction in other countries, but dissatisfaction returned to dissatisfaction, and no one dared to talk gossip. Besides, they all know that Kuan Yu can't be biased towards Konoha, and the character chosen by the tail beast is definitely the best. So the opinions are much less, and the support staff of parliamentarians also need arrangements from various countries. After all, many people have no experience in handling affairs at all. This group of people choose those who are relatively good in character and capable from among the candidates in the election. But it is still not enough, so it can only be supported by various countries. But the country of fire is embarrassed here. A member of parliament needs to be equipped with 2 auxiliary staff, which is not enough for ordinary people. This also requires the selection of tail beasts, which is simply sucking blood. Tsunade was extremely heartbroken, but other countries provided people for screening, and it was impossible to make her an exception. Except for people from other small countries, the support staff will basically choose to be in the same village as the parliamentarians to facilitate cooperation. Hello, sir, they all stood up and said. Today is different from the past, the Sky Council has become formal, and some etiquette is also necessary. It can be said that the current Sky Council has almost concentrated the essence of the ninja world. Kuan Yu took Neji to the main position to do the next. Sit down, everyone. Kuan Yu looked at them very satisfied. Everyone sat down one after another. Even Naruto is very honest, he was educated by Tsunade before he came. Knowing that his current status is different, he can't be as careless as before. First of all, congratulations to everyone for passing the election, but this also means that you have separated from the original village and now represent the Sky Council. You must not be selfish in doing things in the future. Because you represent the entire ninja world, Kuan Yu's words echoed in the conference room. Everyone has serious eyes. Of course, members have many benefits. For example, you can choose a territory near the sacred tree, and basic affairs will not fall into your hands. Our affairs mainly focus on how to resolve disputes and deal with disasters, so that the internal affairs of various countries will not interfere too much. But if there are major problems within each country, we also have to intervene, Kuan Yu said. Then how do we define, Kakashi asked. For example, the manufacture of relatively dangerous weapons, or has affected the survival of the people, will cause disasters and other events. You can discuss the specifics. You are all the elites of each village. I believe you can complete it very well. Now that you sign this contract, the rights of the Sky City belong to you, Kuan Yu said. He took the scroll from his sleeve. They are all people of the Mastered Tail Beast, and of course they have to sign a contract. In the future, they are likely to be the middle force of the shinobi world. With the tail beasts, their cultivation is definitely much faster than ordinary people. Contract. Everyone was taken aback. I know, this is a contract made by Kuan Yu and the others, as if to defend the ninja world. Naruto stood up and said. I have already signed, he said triumphantly. If you inject chakra, you can feel the above content. Of course, the above content is not static. Only the 4 people who signed the agreement at the beginning can modify it. Kuan Yu flicked it lightly, and the scroll unfolded on the tabletop. At that unique location, Kuan Yu's name appeared, and 3 others were written in unknown characters. Suddenly they knew that this was probably the Sage of Six Paths family. The name that appeared later also surprised them, they even saw Orochimaru's name. Everyone poured chakra into it one after another, and then they perceived the content of the contract. This is the top secret of the ninja world, don't tell it to you, and your master-tailed beast queen is almost the strongest combat power in the ninja world, and it is your responsibility to defend the ninja world. Once Shanshu is created, you will also give priority to cultivation. This is the meaning of the Sky Council, to defend our sky and everything under the sky, Kuan Yu said earnestly. The content of the contract shocked them. It turned out that they had other enemies, and judging from the content of the contract, they were not generally strong. Gaara didn't hesitate, and immediately bit her finger, leaving her name on it. And this seemed to be a signal, and other people also dropped their names on it. Very good. But you don't need to be too nervous, they find that it will take a long time here, and it is not possible to do it all, Kuan Yu said with a smile. The scroll rolled slowly and put it away, returning to Kuan Yu's hand. I don't need you yet, as long as I know it, I will leave it to you in the future. After speaking, Kuan Yu opened the space door and left here with Neji. Leave everyone with a dumbfounded look, is this over? This handshake was too sudden, but at this moment, Keiko and Bai suddenly walked in. Everyone, please come with me, let's hand over the work, Keiko said with a smile. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise they would be really at a loss and didn't know what to do. After Kuan Yu sent Neji to Mount Myoboku to continue practicing, he came to Sasuke and Itachi. They were drinking tea, and when they saw Kuan Yu coming, they invited him together. When will the fairy art you mentioned be created? Sasuke asked. Why, I feel that I am not strong enough, Kuan Yu said with a smile after sitting down. After getting Rinnegan, I became a lot stronger, but the gap with you is still very big, Sasuke said uncomfortably. It's pretty self-aware, Kuan Yu said. Cut, if the tail beast is used by me, I will be much weaker than you, Sasuke said dissatisfied. It's useless if you are thinking about it. The tail beast can't be controlled by you. The new celestial technique has not been created yet, but the general cultivation method is not without it. With your current chakra, cultivation is completely okay. Do you want to try it? Although it is quite difficult. Kuan Yu said after taking the tea from Weasel. How difficult can it be? I am no weaker than when you first got the blue 10-star eyes, Sasuke said confidently. He is now Master 6 Paths Yin power, and his strength should be stronger than Kuan Yu back then. But these powers are just rootless water, and they are gone when used up. Okay. I'll send you to Mount Myoboku, where Neji is also practicing, but once he succeeds, he will definitely be stronger than you, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Sasuke doesn't know how to work hard without being stimulated. Cut. Naruto. What are you going to do? You seem to have said something is wrong with his fairy skills, Sasuke said disdainfully. Although Neji was appointed by Chuan Yu as the next speaker, he absolutely did not believe that Neji could be better than him. Even practicing into a fairy art will not work. He doesn't need to worry, he has also received immortal arts training. Although there is something wrong, the general direction is correct. It should be quick master with a few pointers. Kuan Yu has taken out the will to escape from Naruto's body, and he needs to be familiar with it for a while. His previous work on Mount Myoboku was not completely wasted, which made him more familiar with natural energy. And he already had a certain original will, Sasuke too, but they didn't find it. This was done by Sage of 6 Paths, which belonged to his 2 sons, although those original wills were very few. But these original wills belong to them, and they have been merged with them. This has also reduced the difficulty for them to practice immortality. That's okay. Otherwise it doesn't make sense to surpass him like this, Sasuke nodded and said. You still care about Naruto, well, I'll take you there. Kuan Yu waved his hand and opened a space door beside Sasuke. Sasuke glanced twice and walked in without hesitation. After Sasuke entered, the space door was also closed. Hey, these things are finally resolved, Kuan Yu said after taking a sip of tea. Itachi smiled. You can shake your hand so thoroughly, you can even find an heir. What can I do? I will do everything myself, then I will not be too busy, Kuan Yu said helplessly. How are you doing in immortal art? Kuan Yu asked suddenly. It's done. Itachi poured a cup of tea for Kuan Yu, and said lightly. There seems to be nothing to be proud of. Hehe, it's Itachi, you're the master so soon, Kuan Yu admired. I knew Itachi had a pervert talent for a long time, but I didn't expect him to be able to master Shanshu so fast. Kuan Yu only asked about this when he saw traces of natural energy on his body. Although Kuan Yu left a black rod formed by yin and yang in the Sky City before, it can draw out the natural energy in the body. But Itachi was the first one to cultivate. Kuan Yu guessed that Itachi was already trying to practice immortality before he was resurrected. It's okay, but I'm not good at sealing, and I can't be a seal clone, Itachi said. Seal? Kuan Yu touched his chin. Orochimaru's research has not been fruitful yet, and it is not suitable for you. Why not use my 100 healings mark? 100 healings mark, isn't this Tsunade-sama's technique? You pass it to me like this, Itachi said in surprise. This is my improved version. It is not the original version. Besides, Mrs. Tsunade knows nothing about it. However, the research on sealing technique takes time, so let me complete it for you. You can find time to study in the future, Kuan Yu said. Itachi nodded and didn't refuse. Kuan Yu was just when he needed strength, he could become stronger earlier, and he could help Kuan Yu earlier. Kuan Yu raised his finger and pressed it on the center of Itachi's eyebrows, and immediately a large number of marks extended from the center of the eyebrows and spread all over the body of Itachi. Itachi felt a little pain. With Kuan Yu's current chakra control ability, you don't need to prepare as before, or even materials, to complete the 100 healings mark. Soon the seal was carved, and then these marks began to slowly disappear. Well, I have modified a lot of this 100 healings mark, which is equivalent to a chakra memory, and can be supplemented with my own chakra at any time, Kuan Yu said. The current 100 healings mark only retains the functions of chakra transmission and storage. These are actually his current 100 healings mark. When he merged with Tensigan, the Tensigan chakra at that time was in the 100 healings mark. When merging, the violent chakra directly obliterated and changed some runes and became more adapted to chakra's transmission. Of course, some of the less important runes were also crashed by the powerful chakra, but fortunately there was no overall crash. The powerful chakra closely linked the remaining runes together, and finally formed a new seal technique. After hearing Kuan Yu's words, Itachi nodded. Does the clone need me to help you put it in? Kuan Yu asked. It's not necessary. In the final analysis, this is actually a clone of one's own will. It's very easy. Itachi smiled, then closed his eyes, his brows lit up slightly. Before long, Kuan Yu felt natural energy pouring into Itachi's body. Soon, eyeshadow appeared on Itachi's face, then his eyes opened. No other marks were produced. Obviously, Itachi's controllability is quite excellent. This is also the reason why his chakra has just reached the point of cultivating immortality, which is less and easier to control. Sure enough, to be a master of illusion, this kind of control is not something ordinary people can do, Kuan Yu said with a smile. However, even in this way, it will take a long time for you to evolve Rinnegan, and the original will is temporarily unable to give you. Your current body cannot bear so much chakra. I can also evolve Rinnegan. Itachi was a little surprised. There is nothing impossible. As long as the original will accumulates enough, you can also evolve Rinnegan, but it will take a long time to succeed. You have the attribute of yin escape. Without the cooperation of yang, it takes too long to rely on natural energy. So, this is for you. A box suddenly appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. This is Rinnegan. Rinnegan is undoubtedly the best choice for Itachi. Itachi must become stronger and transcend the limitations of the ninja, which is so short of the original will. The most practical one is Rinnegan, and this eye is useless to stay with him. Moreover, the Weasel Immortal technique is successful, and it will soon be able to integrate the original will of it. It's too precious. I just want to practice slowly, and then I can evolve, said Itachi. And I don't want to change my eyes, forehead. Kuan Yu had forgotten that Itachi's eyes belonged to his father now, and Itachi would probably be reluctant to change it. So who should I keep this eye for? Ordinary people can't use it, and the Uchiha clan doesn't have many people. Those who have sage body, Keiko and Naruto, think about how they look like Rinnegan. Kuan Yu couldn't help but feel a chill. Just forget it. And this eye also has shortcomings. It was originally forcibly merged. For example, Susanoo still cannot be used, and other aspects of abilities are also weaker than the genuine Rinnegan. Forget it. I will keep it as meaningless, so I will help you. Kuan Yu took out the test tube. Chakra is injected into it. The red round eyes inside burst into pieces in an instant. Kuan Yu, you are. Itachi said in shock. He never expected that Kuan Yu would directly ruin Rinnegan. This is Rinnegan, not an ordinary thing. Basically, you have a strong strength. Don't worry, there are too few people suitable for this eye. It's better to let me extract the original will of it, Kuan Yu said lightly. For him now, he really didn't care about a crippled Rinnegan, and the most important thing was the original will. Other people use it, and at most it becomes like Nagato, which is of little significance. It's better to give Itachi, let him evolve the real Rinnegan. A cloud of blue yin and yang escaped slowly from Rinnegan's debris, and the original will was in it. Because these original wills are too similar, almost exactly the same, they can be directly merged together. This is why Orochimaru can evolve Rinnegan so quickly. Otherwise, he just used the original Sharingan of the Uchiha clan to fuse, and he wouldn't be able to get Rinnegan so quickly. He also succeeded by accidentally hitting. This is the original will. I will put him in one of your eyes, so that you can quickly evolve Rinnegan, Kuan Yu said. This is equivalent to a small version of chakra fruit. Itachi was a little helpless, and Kuan Yu was a little too wasteful. But he also knew that Kuan Yu was doing this for his own good. Now that there is no other way, Rinnegan can't recover anymore, so let's do it. Kuan Yu smiled and nodded. This eye is already mutilated and has little meaning, but your eyes are already eternal Mangekyo, and it is more appropriate to use the power of the original will to evolve, Kuan Yu said. Before Itachi could react, a blue light shot into his right eye. But he didn't resist either, and then a cool sensation emerged spontaneously. After that, it didn't feel much anymore. Itachi was a little puzzled. Didn't he say that Rinnegan could evolve? Why didn't he feel it? Did this fail? Kuan Yu looked at Itachi's puzzled expression, knowing what he was thinking, and said. You haven't merged these original wills. How can you evolve? Now that you fully enter Sage mode, that kind of mental state can merge these original wills. Itachi suddenly realized it, and because of this, Kuan Yuming knew that it was difficult to practice immortality now, but he still let Sasuke and the others practice. In this way, as long as they have enough original will, they can become powerful quickly. Itachi is not nonsense. I directly connected my consciousness with the clone in 100 Healings mark, and started to fully enter the state of Sage mode. Itachi closed his eyes. Kuan Yu could see chakra inside Itachi pouring toward his eyes. And the yin-yang dun that he had injected was also quickly consumed. It seems that the evolution of Rinnegan is not only about the original will, but also for the yin and yang escape. But Itachi itself only possesses a relatively strong yin escape, but yang escape is not enough. He does not have a sage body. And Itachi itself does not have the master's ability to decompose natural energy, even though it can decompose too little. It simply can't meet the needs of evolution Rinnegan. The chakra silk thread is connected to the body of the ferret, and the high concentration of yin and yang escapes into the body of the ferret. These are the purest chakras and do not carry any mark of Kuan Yu himself. It can be absorbed without barriers. Otherwise, waiting for Rinnegan to draw the vitality of Itachi directly will be in trouble. Yin and yang escaped bit by bit and was absorbed into Itachi's right eye. After a while, Kuan Yu took back his chakra after feeling Itachi could no longer absorb it. Then he poured himself a cup of tea and waited slowly. Rinnegan's evolution takes time. At the beginning, his blue 10-star eyes belonged to the upgraded evolution, but Itachi was a normal evolution. Time passed slowly. Itachi opened his eyes suddenly, and a purple Rinnegan appeared in his right eye. Compared to Sasuke, this Rinnegan is a bit worse. There is a lot of original will in his eye, and all are concentrated in one eye, and then it can be opened to the state of Luguyu. Use special space abilities and hand power. In addition to the lack of Kuan Yu's space control ability, in terms of combat, it is actually better than Kuan Yu's ability to open space doors. How do you feel? Kuan Yu asked. Very good, the pupil power is greatly enhanced, but some abilities need to slowly accumulate pupil power, and a lot of chakra is needed, Itachi said. It's not just chakra's problem, but also Yang Dan. Your own reserves are too small. Although you can slowly replenish it by decomposing natural energy, it's too impractical, Kuan Yu said. Indeed, if it needs to be supplemented in time during the battle, the body may not be able to bear it, Itachi nodded and said. So, don't use this power for the time being, just get used to it. In the latter case, you can only transform your body, Kuan Yu said. Transform the body? Itachi said puzzledly. Yes, otherwise you think Uchiha Madara can use Rinnegan so freely. He is implanted with first-generation cells, Kuan Yu explained. Itachi thought for a while. Then Sasuke will do the same in the future? Almost. There are two methods now. One is to have a lot of original will, but if this is the case, your body can't bear the chakra that the original will can store. It's too wasteful. Although it can be replenished by decomposing natural energy all the time, there may be no natural energy in the place where you fight in the future. Maybe you will fight in other worlds or space in the future, and it won't work if you don't have enough chakra reserves. Itachi nodded. This is really troublesome. He knows how many chakras Kuan Yu has, but he can't bear such chakras. What about other methods, only Hashirama cells? Will this affect the blood of the Uchiha clan? Itachi asked. This. Kuan Yu was a little confused. He really didn't expect this. As for the Uchiha clan, he and Sasuke are the only ones left, and Obito has been transformed. No wonder Itachi asks if Sasuke is going to undergo a transformation. The second method is to implant Hashirama's cells, or my cells, Kuan Yu said helplessly. His cells are okay, and the genes in them are his own, which he has learned from Orochimaru. But once Kuan Yu's cells are injected, will they give birth to their own children, or Kuan Yu's? This is really hard to say. Although our genes may not be too different, we belong to the Otsutsuki family, but I really cannot guarantee that the descendants of Sasuke will not be affected, Kuan Yu said embarrassedly. Then wait until Sasuke gets married and has children, Itachi said. Looking at his expression, he doesn't care much about this situation, but the premise is to let Sasuke leave his blood. That's okay, if I need to, I can keep a match, it's absolutely suitable Sasuke, Kuan Yu smiled. Oh, tell me, Itachi said with interest. It seems that he is very concerned about Sasuke's lifelong events. This is a branch of our Senju clan. There is absolutely no problem with blood, and she also likes Sasuke, Kuan Yu smirked. Is it a branch of the Senju clan? It's really appropriate. Who is it? Itachi asked curiously. Haruno Sakura, you should be familiar with this name. Kuan Yu smiled. So it was her. Itachi was a little surprised. Of course he knew Sasuke's teammates and classmates. As far away as Mount Myoboku, Sasuke, who was exchanging celestial skills with Neji, got cold and sneezed. He felt as if something bad was about to happen. This is what I found on the genealogy. Many people in Konoha have the blood of the Senju clan, Kuan Yu explained. Yes, Haruno Sakura is a branch of the Senju family. At the beginning, too many Senju people were married, and Kuan Yu also knew about it. Will Sasuke agree? Itachi asked. The eldest brother is like a father. If you don't agree, you have to agree. After that, I will arrange her to work in the Sky Council. This is for the inheritance of the Uchiha clan, Kuan Yu said meaningfully. Well, I hope Sasuke will accept it. Itachi hesitated and agreed. Haruno Sakura, who has a certain blood of the Senju clan, is indeed the most suitable for Sasuke. Regarding sage body, there may still be other ways. I will ask about it later. I still try to ensure the blood of your Uchiha clan, Kuan Yu said. The original sage body was formed by the Otsutsuki clan fused with the branches of their sacred tree. And 10 Tails is also similar to the holy tree. Is it possible to fuse apart to form a sage body? Although a bit violent, 10 Tails itself also possesses the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, which benefits them greatly. And the two also have Rinnegan, so there shouldn't be any problem with controlling the power of 10 Tails. As for Neji, Kuan Yuji can say sorry. He didn't expect this to happen before, and besides, his body was destroyed like that, and he couldn't accept 10 Tails transformation. And whether 10 Tails can make people evolve into sage body, I don't know yet. After that, Kuan Yu was going to ask Kaguya, using 10 Tails power also needed her consent, which was stated in the contract. Trouble you, Kuan Yu, it is mainly the Uchiha clan that only me and Sasuke are left. I care more about this, Itachi said embarrassedly. Understand. But are you looking for someone to marry? Kuan Yu said with a smirk. Forehead. After that, Kuan Yu left here and went to the moon. He planned to understand the situation first. Otherwise, Kuan Yu's blood might be everywhere in the future, which would be embarrassing. Oh, your idea is very interesting. Generally, Otsutsuki will have sage body, which is a part of 10 Tails, but no one has thought about it. Kaguya thought for a while and said. Moreover, the power of 10 Tails is too violent. Without Rinnegan's suppression, it is impossible to succeed, but the benefits are also great. It can master the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements. Don't worry, they both have Rinnegan, Kuan Yu said with a smile. I don't have much opinion. The soul of Yuya's reserve can greatly strengthen 10 Tails. It is not a big problem to separate the part and go out. As for whether it can be achieved, I don't know whether it can be achieved, Kaguya said. She didn't care about Kuan Yu's rapid expansion of strength, which was exactly what she needed. Kuan Yu has realized the power of the Otsutsuki clan, and the more helpers they have, the better. As long as the soul is enough, they can develop a lot of combat power to face the threat of Otsutsuki's family. And for now, the world can still support so many people, and their practice methods are different from those of the Otsutsuki clan. They are more concerned about the use of power and do not have a high demand for their original will. Thank you. This matter will start after their immortal skills are completed, and then they can also improve their strength at one time, Kuan Yu said. Of course, but I also have the conditions, Kaguya said. Please speak, Kuan Yu said. Come out, donate, Kaguya said. Kuan Yu looked to the side. He knew Sharon was there a long time ago. Sharon is also a very good Otsutsuki, but his Byakugan is not pure, and there is no hope of evolving Tenseigan, Kaguya said. After Sharon came out, he bowed to Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu nodded. Then Kaguya-sama means. I want him to learn about the ninja's cultivation method. Immortality is a must. In terms of physical skills, he wants to learn your breathing method, Kaguya said. Is the breathing method? Yes, but it requires a lot of perseverance and hard training. Kuan Yu thought about it and agreed. He knew what Kaguya might have discovered. Thank you, Master Kuan Yu. Sharon's posture was very low. You're welcome. Physical exercises are also a powerful force, not worse than the original will. I hope you will work harder, Kuan Yu said with a smile. They were all people on the same boat, and Kuan Yu didn't care about it. Even if they knew that Kuan Yu's progress afterwards was in physical skills, there would be no problem. It is impossible to cultivate to the limit without a lot of time and hard work. Especially when it comes to Kuan Yu's level, it is very difficult to make progress. Even Kuan Yu himself doesn't know how long it will be before he can enter the next level. Sharon nodded seriously. He had noticed the battle between Neji and Kuan Yu before. In that case, he could not be Neji's opponent by relying on Tenseigan. This made him more curious about the practice of ninja. A purple ball of light appeared in Kuan Yu's hand, which was his will to escape. Then the purple ball of light floated in front of Sharon. It's about all aspects of physical training, and I also have my own practice experience. Kaguya-sama also has gravitational space, and you can work harder in it. When you feel that that level can't satisfy you anymore, you can come to me. Sharon nodded. Then the purple ball of light was directly integrated into his body, and a large amount of information was transmitted to Sharon's mind. The information is quite comprehensive. Not only there are methods for practice, but also the use of strength. Even Kuan Yu added his understanding of breaking the limit, and various states are described in detail. Sharon only then knew how much effort Kuan Yu had spent in cultivating physical skills, and the gravity she had endured made him feel a little scary. Thank you, Master Kuan Yu. I will work hard, Shiren said respectfully to Kuan Yu. Kuan Yu smiled. Well, if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask for advice. You can also visit the ninja world when you have time. If I have something to do, I will leave first. Kuan Yu opened the space door. When Kuan Yu left. Kuan Yu, what is the practice method given? Kagaya said. It's quite comprehensive, as you said. The direction he can make progress is just as you expected, Sharon said respectfully. It's really physical skills, Kagaya murmured. Kuan Yu's physical skills left a deep impression on her, unparalleled speed, strong enough to affect space and destroy her body's powerful attack ability. However, Kuan Yu's application of the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements has reached its limit, and it can even directly destroy space. In this respect, she didn't think that Kuan Yu could improve. It was scary enough, and it destroyed half of her body. The only place he can improve is physical skills. Unexpectedly, he didn't even conceal this. Did he say what kind of state it was like? Kagaya said. Yes, when the physical body is strengthened to ultimate, it can directly break through the space and exert a powerful destructive ability. Moreover, this kind of attack does not even have a charge. It can attack continuously, and each blow can break through the space, and there is no limit to the strength. Sharon said dryly. Kaguya's pupils also shrank sharply. If Kuan Yu really did it, he wouldn't know how strong Kuan Yu could be. He was afraid that he could kill anyone in that state. There is so strong there, even if he does it, it won't last long. It's just a secret technique after all, Black Zetsu said from Kaguya's sleeve. Ju has been hiding from Kuan Yu, Haiha village and the others all this time. He clearly knew that his appearance would probably leave a gap in their hearts, and he could only hide for his mother. No, I don't think so. The power he said at the end has no limit. It may be that he may be able to cultivate that state to be used normally, or it can be maintained for a long time. Siren glanced at Black Zetsu and said. No matter what, you have to practice hard. This is not worse than Tensigan. Kuan Yu's power has grown exponentially, and we cannot lag behind. Although we have a contract, we still have the right to speak, Kagaya said. She wasn't worried about the others. The power of 10 tails would soon be enhanced by the soul collected by Yuya. And she is slowly strengthening her control over 10 tails power. As far as power is concerned, she doesn't feel that she is much weaker than Kuan Yu. But the formation of the chakra fruit of 10 tails, although she completed it. But in the future distribution issues, she also has to take a certain amount of initiative. There is too much power in Kuan Yu. Even though she has Hamura and Hai, the right to speak is enough. But the two of them cared more about the shinobi world, and they only favored her mother. As for Kuan Yu, she clearly knew that Hamura and Hai admired him. To be precise, Kuan Yu's conduct is beyond doubt, as can be seen from the cultivation method he passed on to Sharon. But she felt that what she should fight for was to fight for. Kuan Yu's thoughts will not change, and his staff will say that it is not necessarily so. But there are not many people she can train, so she took this opportunity to let Sharon learn Kuan Yu's powerful methods. Perhaps, it's time to go to the ninja world to see the Hyuga clan and the 2 children of Yui, Kagaya thought. She can't have no power in the ninja world, and the Hyuga clan of hereditary Byakugan is just right. Moreover, I heard from Sharon that there were actually 2 Byakugans quite pure children. This can be cultivated well. The ninja world is also a very magical place, not only people like Kuan Yu, but also excellent talents in other fields. Although the strength is not strong, but the qualifications are quite good. That's why Kuan Yu can find so many talents who can improve his strength so quickly. And he is also preparing to popularize immortal arts. Once completed, they will have a fairly powerful army. It's definitely not what her white Zetsu can compare. Kuan Yu, who returned to the Sky Council, left a clone outside, and then entered his own space and began to practice. Everything that should be done is almost done. The rest of the time is waiting. According to the original work, the Otsutsuki clan hasn't come to the ninja world so soon. It should be more than 10 years old. And that one didn't dare to make trouble now. As long as Kuan Yu found out, he couldn't escape. For the Otsutsuki family, who have eternal life, their time concept is not strong. The problem of handing in chakra fruits depends on the environment in which the sacred tree is planted. The general local environment is definitely not as good as shinobi, and it is impossible to hand in the chakra fruit so quickly. This is the reason why Kagaya has disappeared for so long, and no one from the Otsutsuki clan has come here. It was only recently that the situation here might be discovered. Kuan Yu didn't care about this wave of enemies. At that time, it was he and Kagaya who didn't make a move. Others can cope. As for the follow-up Otsutsuki family, it also depends on the situation. Kuan Yu thinks that it shouldn't be a big problem to drag it for several hundred years. Chakra fruit, it doesn't matter if you give some. Once Kuan Yu feels that he is strong enough, He will take the initiative to provoke a battle and destroy the Otsutsuki clan. But will the real situation really be what Kuan Yu thought? No one knows. With the support of Naruto and the others, the Sky Council has become more and more efficient and has begun to form its own system. The national strength of various countries is also constantly improving. Some development contradictions also occurred from time to time, but they were all resolved peacefully by the Sky Council. The overall progress is slowly, but the time is too short to see specific effects. However, the living environment of human beings is greatly improved, and the responsibilities of ninjas are also changing. The original gangsters and robbers were eliminated, which made the traffic and trade more prosperous. The role of ninjutsu has also been used in production, and a lot of resources have been developed. The strategy for small countries has also changed. It is no longer for the purpose of embezzlement, but instead is to cooperate together, each taking what it needs. The world of ninja is developing at an unprecedented speed. And in the Sky Council, "Hello, Kagaya-sama," Hinata saluted Kagaya respectfully. Kagaya looked at Hinata in front of her, and stayed in her eyes for a long time. This made Hinata a little nervous. Kagaya can't help sighing, such a pure Byakugan is rare even in Otsutsuki home. Actually will appear here, and both sisters are. Don't be nervous, you should have noticed my Byakugan, in fact, you are also my descendants, Kagaya said. Kuan Yu is counted as her junior if she recognizes her relatives. It's just that the time is too far apart, and Kuan Yu's power must also be respected. Yes, ancestors, there are records about you in the clan, Hinata whispered. The appearance of Kagaya will of course attract the attention of the Hyuga clan, and they have indeed found records of this in the early literature. But they didn't have the courage to find an ancestor who didn't know how long they had lived to admit their relatives. Oh, in that case, have you ever considered coming back to me? I also need some people to worship, Kagaya said with a smile. Hinata was shocked. This, she was a little flustered. This kind of thing is a bit big for her. Even though she is now a member of the Sky Council, she dare not bypass her father and make a decision without authorization. Don't worry, I hope you can think about it, Kagaya said gently. No, it needs my father to make a decision, Hinata said hurriedly. Kagaya frowned. Isn't Hinata a member of the Sky Council? Can't you decide on this kind of thing? In her opinion, the status of a parliamentarian is more than that of a patriarch. Well, I'll go to the Hyuga clan another day, and now I'll talk about you. Kagaya didn't mind either. My business? Tell me, please, Hinata was puzzled. As my descendant, I want to arrange a marriage for you, Kagaya said. There is nothing better than marriage, and this little girl is very good and worth training. She is going to let the dormitory marry Hinata as his wife, so that her goal will be achieved. It won't work, Hinata's mind was shaken, but immediately settled and refused. Huh. Kagaya flashed angrily on his face. A strong sense of oppression radiated from her body instantly. In her opinion, she was already very restrained, but she was still dissatisfied with being rejected twice. But Hinata was extremely firm, and looked at Kagaya without showing any weakness. I have someone I like, she said seriously. The atmosphere instantly solidified. Kagaya didn't know what to say for a while. You know who you refused, and the person I arranged for you is definitely the best, Kagaya said lightly. Hinata also sweated on his forehead. Sudden. Wow. I'm going to hit, bang. A figure slammed into the door instantly. The two people in the room were also taken aback. Kakuo. Why are you here, and the voice just now? Hinata said in surprise. It was Five Tails Kakuo just now, rushing in with a man in his mouth. Now the tail beasts are all around the sacred tree, and Naruto and the others have no restrictions. Now no one dares to make their ideas, and because of their size, their activities are quite free. Send you someone here, Kakuo finished speaking, and ran away again. Hinata looked at the ground. Ahaha, Kakuo said, Hinata, you are looking for me in a hurry. I didn't expect it to let me in. I'm sorry, Naruto stood up and said awkwardly. Hinata blushed instantly, and it was obvious that Kakuo had discovered her unusual behavior. And Kakuo can feel what is happening around her. Hey, isn't this Kaguya's mother-in-law? Naruto looked at Kagaya curiously. When Kagaya heard this name, her heart fluctuated twice. She was indeed Naruto's mother-in-law. And she looked at Hinata. From her face and the number of heartbeats, the person she liked should be Naruto. But the tail beast may have felt this, and suddenly sent Naruto over. Alas, it seems that it's no longer enough to let him marry Hinata. So that's the case, then I don't make it difficult for you. Since the older sister is not good, isn't there still a younger sister? Kagaya doesn't care anymore, Naruto can be counted as her child. Naruto, Come here, Kagaya beckoned with a gentle gaze. Okay, Naruto grinned, touching his head. He didn't feel nervous. When Naruto came to Kagaya, Hinata was a little nervous. Kagaya reached out and touched Naruto's head. Naruto was taken aback. But he didn't care anymore. It seemed to him that Kagaya was so old and was an elder, and it was normal to touch his head. Naruto, you are right. I am your mother-in-law, Kagaya said softly. Naruto was dumbfounded for a moment. You were actually the reincarnation of Ashura, Yui's child, and Quan Yu reminded you at the beginning, Kagaya continued. Ah, isn't Quan Yu joking? Naruto said in surprise. Hinata was also shocked, and she did not expect Naruto. It's not. Kagaya shook his head. Oh, it's okay, I have another family member. Naruto suddenly hugged Kagaya. For Naruto, who had been alone for so long, the sudden appearance of such a loved one still caused great fluctuations in his heart. Kagaya stiffened, but she felt Naruto's sincere emotion and then relaxed. Naruto's emotion made her a little uncomfortable, but it made her feel a little warm. Thank you. Mother-in-law Kagaya. After a while, Naruto embarrassedly let go of Kagaya. Kagaya smiled. Don't worry about this, you are my child in the first place. Ah ha ha. Suddenly there was a family member and I was a little uncomfortable, Naruto said with a touch of his head. Naruto knew that he should really have something to do with Kaguya's grandson. But with Naruto's character, he doesn't think much, he just feels that he has an extra family member. By the way, what are you and Hinata doing here? Naruto asked suddenly. Oh, you ask this, I'm discussing her marriage with Hinata, Kagaya said. Hinata panicked, she thought Kagaya hadn't given up yet. Marriage? Naruto was taken aback. Are you going to introduce someone to Hinata? Yeah, you happen to be there, I'm going to let you marry Hinata, Kagaya said suddenly. Since Hinata likes Naruto, that can make it happen. What? Two exclamations sounded. Naruto was surprised. Hinata's face flushed instantly. Why, Hinata, you don't want to, Kagaya said, looking at Hinata. There was a smile in her eyes. No, no. Hinata felt like he was about to explode and couldn't even speak. But, mother-in-law Kagaya, I have, snapped. A space door opened behind Naruto, and a hand came out directly on the back of Naruto's head. Naruto staggered directly, and couldn't say anything next. Then Quan Yu Shiren walked out of the space door. I agree to this matter, Quan Yu said with a smile. Quan Yu, what are you doing? Naruto said, touching his head. Quan Yu paid attention to this side when Kagaya came. Seeing this kid Naruto, he wanted to mess up before he suddenly made a move. Of course it is to arrange the marriage for you, so I am also your leader, and I should be concerned about the personal issues of my subordinates, Quan Yu said with a smile. What else does Naruto want to say? But Quan Yu just wanted to stop Naruto's mouth. Sasuke, I have arranged it too. Little Sakura has agreed. When Sasuke comes back, I will be engaged. This is of course Quan Yu's nonsense, he doesn't have time to arrange this, and let Keiko talk about it after a while. What? Naruto stiffened. You are an arranged marriage, I don't agree. Oh, it seems that I was too kind to you, so I dared to resist. Quan Yu's eyes appeared with blue 10-star eyes. After a burst of light, Naruto fell into illusion. Hinata was surprised. She also felt something was wrong. You come in too, Quan Yu looked at Hinata. Hinata also fell into illusion. A fox head immediately emerged from Naruto. What are you doing, Quan Yu? You actually used illusionism against Naruto, Nine Tails said dissatisfied. Nothing. Let him recognize the reality, Tenten is stupid, just let him experience something, Quan Yu said indifferently. Kagaya didn't speak, she didn't feel Quan Yu's malice. This is why she didn't stop it. What are you going to do? Kagaya asked. Although Quan Yu is not malicious, why does he use illusion on Naruto and Hinata? Let them recall something, don't worry, it will be fine soon, Quan Yu said with a smile. Nine Tails was speechless, it glanced at Quan Yu, and then retracted back. Kagaya-sama is preparing to establish a relationship with the Hyuga clan, Quan Yu asked suddenly. Yes, do you have an opinion? Kagaya said. No, as long as they agree, I have no opinion at all, Quan Yu said with a smile. He guessed Kaguya's thoughts, but he didn't care. Kagaya can have this kind of thought, which shows that she is already preparing to join the ninja world. This is a good thing. However, there is one thing I want to remind you, Sasuke and Naruto are different, he won't recognize you, Quan Yu said. With Sasuke's character, even if he knew his relationship with Kagaya, he would not admit it. I see, Kagaya was a little bit disappointed, but it would be nice to have a child like Naruto. Master Kagaya, please don't care. After all, except for Naruto, other people who are very nervous, it is not easy for other people to accept the appearance of a relative in this way, Kuan Yu said. Kagaya nodded. If you have time, you can let Naruto take you to the ninja world. This world is still very interesting. We can live a long time. It would be a shame if we don't experience some things. Kuan Yu snapped his fingers and Naruto and Hinata instantly became sober. After waking up, Naruto was a little dazed. He seemed to have seen some memories of Hinata just now, many of which were related to him, but he had forgotten them. And he didn't expect that Hinata would have liked herself since she was a child. What Hinata saw was Naruto's memory. How about it, Naruto, do you agree? I connected your memories just now so that you can see the memories of getting along with each other. Isn't it interesting? Kuan Yu smirked. Naruto stiffened. Hinata understood something instantly, his face flushed. Then he ran out like flying. Why are you in a daze? Don't chase, such a good girl, don't just give up. Kuan Yu pushed Naruto. Naruto is sober. Then he ran out quickly. Kuan Yu, you wait for me. Naruto's voice came. It seems that Naruto understands something, and Kuan Yu deliberately. Cut. It sounds like you can beat me, Kuan Yu said disdainfully. Look, it's very simple. A man doesn't mind that a girl likes him, and he will cherish it even more, especially for people like Naruto. Kuan Yu turned his head and said to Kagaya. Kagaya nodded thoughtfully. Then Kuan Yu took Kagaya to Orochimaru's place. Hearing from Kabuto, there was a breakthrough in research. Mother, Hamura bowed slightly. Orochimaru also bowed slightly. I heard that you were almost finished, so Master Kagaya and I came over to take a look, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Yes, it was done by referring to the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, combined with 100 Healing's Mark and Caged Bird, Orochimaru said. Oh, it sounds good, can you tell me more about it? Kuan Yu said with interest. He has also studied the sealing technique and is very interested in this aspect, but because of his lack of time, he didn't participate in it. It was mainly to suppress Shiba's movement. In this regard, Mr. Hamura provided a lot of help, Orochimaru said with a smile. Caged Bird's design originally had this aspect of design. I just enhanced the effect and changed some of its properties, Hamura said with a smile. Izumi nodded, thinking about how difficult it is for Neji to break through the final level of will, and you know how deep Hamura's research is in this area. The new version of 100 Healing's Mark provided by Master Kuan Yu is also very good. It is excellent in storage of clones and transmission with chakra. It also strengthens the link between the clone and the ontology, Orochimaru continued. Kuan Yu nodded. Orochimaru chose his 100 Healing's Mark and he did not surprise him. The excellent chakra conduction and the network of runes all over the body are equivalent to another vein. In terms of confidentiality, this is our unique technology. I don't want to be an enemy, Kuan Yu said, touching his chin. Please rest assured in this regard, this seal technique is connected to the soul. Once someone tries to crack it forcibly, it will only break the seal, and the soul will be broken. It is impossible to obtain any information at all, Hamura said. His caged bird is meant to act on the soul, and it is almost impossible to crack from the outside. This effect is normal. Although it is cruel to the person who engraved this seal, the price of soul broken is a bit high. But if you fall into the enemy's hands, you can only die. The dissipation of the soul is not so unacceptable. Trouble you too. I am very satisfied with this design, Kuan Yu said with a slight salute. You are polite. This is the rune seed of this seal technique, but most people are afraid it is difficult to make and easy to leak. Hamura handed out a small black ball. Kuan Yu took it curiously, and it was the first time he saw such a seal. Kuan Yu could feel that this seal technique seed was formed from yin and yang escape, which was quite strong. Kuan Yulan's 10-star eyes opened and began to see through this seed. He could see a large number of runes in it, but the core was completely wrapped in a special seal, and it was impossible to see through it at all. Hamura even took precautions in this regard. It seems that they have put a lot of effort into it. Don't worry about making things. If it's other ways I can't do a lot of copying, but you have already made it into a physical entity, it will be convenient. Kuan Yu said confidently. Then the seal seed disappeared in Kuan Yu's hand, and not long after, a space door opened. Then the two seal seeds flew out and fell into Kuan Yu's hands. Hamura and Orochimaru were shocked, and even they needed a lot of effort to portray this seal. Kuan Yu easily made one. If it is a real material composition, it would be quite troublesome, but it is formed by the yin and yang escape, which can be copied directly in my space, Kuan Yu explained. He doesn't need to understand the structure, anyway, it is formed by yin and yang escape, just copy the space exactly the same. Moreover, the consumption is much smaller than that of making real substances, and it only needs to consume Kuan Yu's yin and yang to escape. Is this your spatial ability? Kagaya asked. She was also impressed by Kuan Yu's space. Yes, I can do anything in my space, but I have to pay a certain amount of yin and yang to escape according to the degree of difficulty, but my space power is not strong yet, and some special things will also consume a lot of money when copied. Kuan Yu explained. Unfortunately, it is almost impossible to make things out of thin air. This way, we can fully understand the nature of matter. Otherwise, it can be made, but if you take out space, it will collapse. Orochimaru just remembered that Kuan Yu had one of his eyes damaged before, but he disappeared and recovered. It seems that this is his space at work. This level of recovery should not consume much. That's it. Kagaya nodded. No wonder she felt that the entire space was restricting her at the time. If Kuan Yu's spatial power weren't strong enough, she wouldn't be able to escape at all. Kuan Yu's eyes were never seen by the Otsutsuki clan, and it is not surprising that he possesses such a magical ability. On the contrary, these eyes are much less useful in combat, and they don't have any powerful offensive capabilities. The other pupil technique is just imitating other people's ninjutsu. In the master's yin and yang and 5 elements, Kuan Yu, who is the strongest attacking technique, is not enough for other energy-using moves. It was that the move had a shortcoming and needed to accumulate energy. If she hadn't been restricted by Kuan Yu's truth-seeking ball at the time, it would be very difficult to get the move. It is indeed a very convenient ability. Now we can create a large number of seal seeds to enhance the strength of the ninja world, Hamura said. When the chakra in the ninja is completely transformed into chakra, the ninja's strength will be greatly improved. Even ordinary Jonin, after entering Sage mode, can also have comparable strength. It's not that simple. There are not many ninjas who meet the requirements for planting seal seeds. This requires a huge chakra by itself. It is to lower the standard and require strong control capabilities, otherwise it will be easily backed by natural energy, Kuan Yu said. Indeed, the natural energy of the general ninja master is indeed very difficult, Hamura said with a frown. Let qualified people implant it first, and then set the limits of chakra. Only ninjas who meet the standards can implant it in the Sky Council, Kuan Yu said. It's best for the ninjas to realize the benefits of fairy magic, so that they have the motivation to practice and no longer cling to the practice of ninjutsu, Orochimaru said. Yes, before you have accumulated enough chakra, try not to practice ninjutsu, and at this stage of the battle, you must make up for it in other ways, such as scientific ninjutsu, Kuan Yu said with a flash of eyes. Scientific endurance? Hamura didn't understand. It turns out that, through the change of runes, tools are made, so that ninjas can use their own chakra to use powerful ninjutsu, without having to practice hard. Orochimaru quickly figured out. Yes, this is what I asked you to study sealing technique. Even at a low level of ninja, you can have a certain amount of combat power. But this is not to give up the practice of ninjutsu. After the seeds of sealing are planted, the lifespan of the ninja will be greatly increased, and it will not be too late to practice ninjutsu at that time. Furthermore, the scientific ninja, which can also display a strong combat power at high levels, is an essential auxiliary tool for ninjas. It can even create a natal scientific ninja, which greatly strengthens the ninja's strength. Kuan Yu said excitedly. He is approaching his goal, completely transforming the shinobi world. Oh, what about the specific direction? I'm very curious about your thoughts, Orochimaru said with interest. For the rune array, for example, we can directly solidify the runes. As long as the ninja injects chakra, we can directly use the seal technique, or split, let several ninjas cooperate with each other, Kuan Yu thought for a while and said. Oh, this is similar to the seal scroll we use, but it's not difficult to do, Orochimaru said. The other aspect is that it can release all kinds of ninjutsu equipment. I won't talk about that, you can also think of it, Kuan Yu said. Then a small sword appeared in Kuan Yu's hand. Then it quickly grew bigger and flew around Kuan Yu. You made this? I'm afraid it's not realistic, Orochimaru said. He had seen the magic of Kuan Yu's sword, and it was impossible to replace it with a scientific endurance tool. How can it be impossible? There is a floating circle in the Sky City. As long as you create an exit for jetting chakra, you can make the sword fly, Kuan Yu said with a smile. But for chakra, it is impossible for chakra metal to store too much chakra, and there are also problems with control, Orochimaru said. His original grass pheasant sword, which was in Kuan Yu's hands, has now been changed beyond recognition by Kuan Yu. He didn't recognize it either. This sword is also capable of flying, but it is quite slow and inflexible. Clone. Let's seal a clone in. This will not have enough chakra, but also more flexible control. If chakra is enough, it is possible to use the sword clone. One of the swords surrounding Kuan Yu split instantly. Oh, I didn't expect this. It can be done only by deleting the seal seed and adjusting it, Orochimaru said with bright eyes. Moreover, we can also add other runes on it, such as fire, lightning, etc., to increase power. Yes, Quan Yu, you have a good idea. If you do it well, it can become a kind of fighting art. More than that, have you heard of Yujian flying? Let Feijian take people directly to fly. Quan Yu and Orochimaru exchanged excitedly. Orochimaru was originally interested in research, and Quan Yu also provided him with reliable ideas. Kagaya and Hamura looked at each other. They didn't understand why they were so excited. It seemed to be of no use to them. This is just for excessive use. After that, the avatar in Feijian can be exchanged for source will, and yin and yang escape can be added. It can not only transmit chakra remotely, but also absorb natural energy on its own. Moreover, in terms of runes, they can also be replaced with powerful ones, more complex and more functional, which is equivalent to a special clone, which has been strengthened. This is the natal flying sword adapted by Quan Yu. Orochimaru nodded, too, considering whether he would do it himself. However, he does not yet have the original will to design a preliminary version of the game. Such a genius idea, even Orochimaru has to admire. Quan Yu is also very satisfied. This has directly changed the ninja's fighting style and developed in the direction he imagined. It's no use, Kagaya said lightly. This is not necessarily true. Flying swords are sharper than truth-seeking ball, and they fly farther. What if I have 5 flying swords and use them to form a seal? As that? Quan Yu's smile was somewhat meaningful. Kaguya's eyes narrowed. She understood Quan Yu's thoughts. Even the seal that restricts time and space is invented, and time and space can be sealed directly, Quan Yu said with a smile. Orochimaru's eyes lit up, and if it could, it would be easier to catch the Otsutsuki clan. But time and space ninjutsu has always been a difficult point, and it is not so easy to study it. Critical talents are needed. Quan Yu, I want a resurrection quota, is that okay? Orochimaru smiled. Oh, that's okay. After all, you also made achievements. I don't know who you want to resurrect, Quan Yu said with a flash of eyes. Of course it is second Hokage, Senju Tobirama. I really admire his ability and it has helped our research a lot, Orochimaru said. The scientific madman in the ninja world has created many magical ninjutsu. Of course, Tobirama will attract Orochimaru's attention. Senju Tobirama? Yes, but he may be reluctant to do so, Quan Yu said after thinking about it. Quan Yu is going to leave the souls of people who have died within 100 years. Of course, some of them are useless and will not be left behind. Either reincarnated or swallowed by 10 tails. However, he and Kagaya would not do these things. This requires an agent to handle these things in the Pure Land. And those who subsequently die also need to be dealt with. And First Generation and Tobirama are just right, but he didn't find time to ask their wishes. I will ask him some time, just because there is something to discuss with them, Quan Yu said. I won't have any problems with this, Orochimaru smiled. Anyway, he felt that Quan Yu would definitely understand Tobirama for his plan. This doesn't need him to care, he just needs to raise it. Well, I will immediately notify the qualified people in the villages to plant the seal seeds, but I hope to add something to it, Quan Yu said after thinking about it. Something. Orochimaru's face changed. Yes, I want to add positioning runes. This kind of thing is definitely something someone wants to look at. Quan Yu raised his hand, looked at the seal seed in his hand and said. Once it is destroyed, I must know the location for the first time. I want to see who is so restless. Quan Yu's voice was fierce. Orochimaru breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. He thought Quan Yu was going to add some restrictions to allow him to control the person who planted the seed of the seal, but it seemed not. This is also not in line with his impression of Quan Yu. It's easy to sense damage, but it's difficult to know the specific location. After all, the ninja world is so big, Orochimaru said. Quan Yu asked for a specific position, which was difficult to accomplish with his seal technique attainments. I have a way. As long as I connect with the giant Tensigan, its abilities can diverge directly to the entire ninja world, Hamura said suddenly. But to let you know for the first time, you must also get in touch with the giant Tensigan. His caged bird was originally connected with the giant Tensigan, and it was not difficult to do this. Oh, I'll trouble you, just use this to establish contact with Tensigan. Quan Yu stretched out his hand and grabbed it, and a small white ball appeared in his hand. Tensigan organization. How could you have this? Hamura recognized at a glance what the white ball in Quan Yu's hand was. But how could Quan Yu have it? This was originally a secret, but now it's nothing to tell you, Quan Yu smiled. Although Quan Yu does not have Tensigan, These Tensigan organizations still have contact with him, and it is more appropriate to use it to establish contact with the giant Tensigan again. Orochimaru, you should be very curious why I died before suddenly resurrected. Kuan Yu looked at Orochimaru and said, "It's very curious, and you didn't have blue 10-star eyes at the time, otherwise I could not be your opponent." Orochimaru smiled. He knew that Kuan Yu was not turning over old accounts, so he didn't have any burden in his heart. "This is because I got a small Tensigan before and established contact with it. When I died, Tensigan pulled my soul over," Kuan Yu said. Small Tensigan. This. Could it be? Hamura thought of something. Yes, there is a Tensigan under the altar of the Hyuga family. I also got it by accident. He should have been assembled by Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, Kuan Yu said. So, it's only that they didn't engrave Caged Bird. I didn't expect that there would still be Tensigan remaining. It stands to reason that it shouldn't be. At the beginning, I collected all the Tensigan together to get to the present level, and if there is Tensigan, I should have discovered it. Hamura was puzzled. Because it's not big, and it's very weak, it's almost to the point of being shattered, Kuan Yu explained. That's why you will collect the chakra of the tail beast, and this is also the source of your large amount of pure chakra, Orochimaru said suddenly. He used to think it was chakra provided to him by Kuan Yu's remade body, but later discovered that it was not. Kuan Yu's current body is his first experimental product. Yes, I wasted a lot of effort to get it to fully recover, and I was connected to the giant Tensigan, but I immediately cut the connection, Kuan Yu said with a smile. So, Izumi, you have good luck, Hamura said. Of course, this is almost the basis of my starting point. Without it, I would not progress so fast. Finally, after I fully merged with Tensigan, based on Mangekyo Sharingan, I achieved the current blue 10-star eye. Yi Kuan Yu's current strength does not need to hide anything. No, it's not just Tensigan's problem, but also yourself. You are also far behind you, who is sitting on the giant Tensigan, Hamura said. Kuan Yu's appearance can be said to be an accident, but it is also related to him. He reached the strongest without taking any detours, and he knew exactly what he needed. And think of a way to get these. Kuan Yu was also embarrassed when he recalled the experience of that time. Once upon a time, he was still a little ninja worried about his physical potential, but he did not expect to grow up to the present step by step. Just laughed. I remembered the past without realizing it, Kuan Yu curbed. Haha, it's okay. Your life can be regarded as quite wonderful, it is indeed worth remembering, Hamura said. He has also learned about Kuan Yu's experience and admires him very much. From the weakest to the strongest, this is not something everyone can do. Well, let's not talk about this. We will still participate in the ceremony for the first grant of immortality afterwards. After all, this is an important change, and the sense of ritual is still necessary, Kuan Yu said with a smile. This is also the first part of the ninja world to move towards the immortal civilization. What do you mean, Lord Kagaya? These are our important strengths. Kuan Yu looked at Kagaya. Kagaya nodded. Kuan Yu is willing to share his achievements, of course she doesn't mind. She didn't contribute much to it, but Kuan Yu still counted her. She will not refuse Kuan Yu's kindness. So far, she is quite satisfied with Kuan Yu, a collaborator. He took care of everything perfectly. Kuan Yu got Kaguya's reply and smiled. His goal is to allow Kagaya to better integrate into the ninja world. The Ninja World Congress is, so is Naruto, and this time he will be awarded Shanshu even more. What he needs is a perfect collaborator, not an alien collaborator. Despite the bounds, he still wanted everyone in the ninja world to become a community. After that, I will trouble Master Hamura. Kuan Yu handed the sealed seed and Tensigan organization to Hamura. This is what I should do. I can't bother you with everything, otherwise it seems we are so useless, Hamura smiled. I don't dare, it's just that those who can work harder, but then you still fill up the original will, so that our strength can also increase a bit, Kuan Yu said. It's not a problem, it's just that our body is decayed, and it may not be of much help, Hamura said with some regret. It is precisely because of this that they can travel around the ninja world without the ability of space. In energy form, they have no physical limitations and can move through special methods. Even before they didn't have a way to use natural energy, they didn't even have much chakra left. The body is not a problem. Your original body was created by me with my own body. Would you like to be my son again? Kagaya looked at Hamura affectionately. Mother. Everyone wants to see a happy ending. In the end, Hamura accepted their mother again. Now, in addition to the threats of Otsutsuki's family, Kagaya meets what he wants. The entanglement that almost crossed the history of ninja was over, and Kuan Yu was also very happy. Now the ninja world has become a perfect world, and everything is developing in the direction he imagined. In the ninja world, Kuan Yu, Kagaya and Haiha village are called the original four gods. Has been enshrined in the altar. This is also one of the reasons why Kuan Yu does not appear frequently. He always felt that others looked at him with weird eyes, but after this time he was awarded the fairy magic, he was ready to change places. No longer live in the city of the sky. When Neji completes the immortal technique, he will take over as his chairperson and let him worry about the ninja world. Kuan Yu opened the space door and came to Mount Myoboku. Neji and Sasuke were practicing cross-legged, while Shen Zuojin was drinking tea leisurely beside them. Sasuke and Rinnegan don't have to worry about the runaway of natural energy. And Neji himself is determined and has already touched the edge of yin and yang escape. Controlling natural energy is not a problem. Shen Zuo is also here to take a look, and give them some pointers by the way. However, from the current point of view, both of them have natural energy fluctuations. This was also informed by Yui, so he just came over. Master Kuan Yu. Shen Zuo saw Kuan Yu appear and hurried over to salute. The two people over there also felt the fluctuations and opened their eyes at the same time. Sasuke's eyes are normal, and Rinnegan is hidden under his hair. After all, two different eyes are not good looking. He can't manage to restrain Rinnegan. And Neji's eyes were still a pair of Byakugan, and there was no change. It stands to reason that it should not be. They have all cultivated into immortal arts, and their original wills have also merged. Shouldn't they evolve Tenseigan? Kuan Yu, you are here, Neji stood up and said. It came really in time, and it didn't matter if we were here, Sasuke complained. Haha, your most important task is to cultivate, how can I disturb you? Kuan Yu smiled. Ask Hamura again after Neji's matter, but I'm not in a hurry now. Even if he can't evolve, Neji can practice body art like Sharon. Danti the Hyuga family also have two pairs of pure Byakugan, which can be cultivated at that time. Excuse. Sasuke said irritably. The bugs that have caused them to eat for so long make Sasuke feel nauseous when he thinks of those bugs. Okay, I'll take you out, Sasuke, you will meet the Sky Council first, Neji and I still have something to do. Kuan Yu opened a space door and let Sasuke go in first. After you go back, be happy, Kuan Yu said meaningfully. Sasuke frowned. What did Kuan Yu mean? Humph. Sasuke snorted coldly and walked directly into the space door. After the space door was closed, Kuan Yu opened another one. Then he took Neji and left. Shen Zuo looked at the few people who left with a complicated expression. It has been heard from Toad Sage, and Kuan Yu's preparations for popularizing immortality have been completed. From now on, Shanshu will no longer be unique to the three holy places. Sasuke came out of the space door and saw Itachi drinking tea with Sakura. Seeing the space door opened, Itachi thought it was Kuan Yu, but Sasuke had come out. I'm back, hey, little Sakura, why are you here? Sasuke frowned. He had an unknown hunch for some reason. Sasuke, little Sakura stood up quickly, his face still slightly flushed. Oh, I asked her to come, just as you came back. I have something to discuss with you, Itachi said with a smile. What's the matter? Sasuke walked over to Itachi and sat down. Little Sakura leaned down and sat down and poured Sasuke a cup of tea. Sasuke gave Sakura a strange look. Kuan Yu is ready to transform your body so that you can better exert Rinnegan's strength, and your body is too weak to withstand the indoctrination of the original will, Itachi said with a smile. Remodeling? Is there no other way? Sasuke frowned. No. Kuan Yu said that although your body is excellent, even if you practice hard, you can't bear so much original will, Itachi said. Well, I agree, Sasuke thought for a while and said. He is also aware of the current dilemma facing the ninja world. The people of Otsutsuki's family may come to invade at any time. So I agreed without hesitation. Haha, great, let's talk about the continuation of Uchiha's bloodline, Itachi said happily. Sasuke was taken aback. Body modification may affect your genes, so you must have a child before accepting the modification, Itachi said seriously. Little Sakura's face flushed instantly, and she lowered her head not to look at Sasuke. Sasuke also stiffened, his head slowly turned to Sakura, and then he understood Itachi's thoughts instantly. Whose idea is this? Sasuke said difficultly. My idea. Now only you are the purest Uchiha. You shoulder the responsibility of passing on the blood of the Uchiha clan, and you can make up for my previous sins. Itachi's eyes were a little dim. I don't allow you to refuse, Itachi looked at Sasuke with only seriousness in his eyes. Only then did Sasuke notice that a Rinnegan appeared in an eye that was also covered by hair. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere instantly solidified. Little Sakura also felt the change in atmosphere, and at the same time cheered herself up in her heart. This was the closest she had to Sasuke, and she didn't want to give up. As soon as little Sakura spoke, Itachi and Sasuke's eyes fell on her. Little Sakura's brain suddenly went blank, and it was so terrifying pressure. Only then did little Sakura feel the invisible communication between the two. Sasuke and Itachi also noticed something wrong and hurriedly converged. "No, I don't accept this arrangement," Sasuke said. "If you don't accept it, you have to accept it. No matter what you consider, Sakura is the most suitable. She has the blood of the Senju clan and is also your teammate and classmate," Itachi said. "The Senju clan? When did I have a relationship with the Senju clan?" Little Sakura came back, feeling a little confused. But this is not what she wants to consider now, she must seize the opportunity. "Actually, Sasuke is not ready, I can wait," little Sakura said shyly, lowering her head. "It's okay, but it must be engaged," Itachi nodded and said. "Damn, it's a god assist, I recognize you, big brother," little Sakura roared inwardly. Itachi saw what Sasuke wanted to say. "This is for the family, for the ninja world, and for me, Sasuke. Don't you even give me a chance to redeem my sins," Itachi said in a low voice. "I just want to reproduce the Uchiha clan," Itachi's tone was sad. Sasuke looked at such a Itachi, and his heart couldn't help but twitch. "I accept," Sasuke finally accepted. Finally, little Sakura left here with a happy face. Sasuke was silent. "How do you think of little Sakura?" he asked. "Quan Yu introduced it to me, is there any problem?" Itachi said puzzledly. Sasuke was taken aback. Damn Quan Yu. Only then did he remember what Quan Yu's weird remark meant when he left Mount Myoboku. Quan Yu took Neji to the moon. Soon Hamura rushed over, and he discovered the arrival of Neji and Izumi. "Neji, you are finally here," Hamura smiled. Neji saluted slightly. "Master Hamura. Why Neji hasn't evolved Tenseigan? It stands to reason that it shouldn't. The original will has been merged." Quan Yu directly said the doubt in his heart. Izumi, don't you think Tenseigan can be directly evolved from Byakugan, right?" Hamura smiled. He did not regret that Neji did not evolve Tenseigan. "Isn't it?" Quan Yu wondered. "Neji has all the conditions, shouldn't it evolve? How do you think Rinnegan got here?" Hamura didn't explain, but instead asked Izumi. "Sharingan evolved, what does it matter?" Quan Yu puzzled. "Then how did Sharingan come?" Hamura continued to ask. "It's not Kaguya's inheritance." Quan Yu was taken aback. 10 tails. Quan Yu's expression was a little surprised. "Yes, Quan Yu, you should have guessed it too. His mother does not have Sharingan, but his offspring can still inherit Sharingan because of 10 tails, Hamura said with a smile. "The power of 10 tails affects the mother's body, so Sharingan can be inherited." Quan Yu then remembered that Kaguya didn't have Sharingan, only the forehead was opened because of 10 tails, and Rinnegan, the jade of the 9 Goths who had entered the snare of blood succession. This is why Sharingan was inherited. But what does it have to do with Neji's Tenseigan? Quan Yu still had questions. The mother's 9-gold jade Rinnegan was actually formed by the power projection of 10 tails, and if Neji wants to evolve Tenseigan, he must be connected with the giant Tenseigan. With the power of the giant Tenseigan, Neji's eyes are projected into Neji's eyes, Hamura explained. It turned out to be like this. It's similar to the way Nagato made Pen 6 paths, but Neji can solidify this power, Quan Yu suddenly realized. Yes, that is also a projection of power. Hamura is also silently paying attention to the ninja world. Of course he knows what Quan Yu is talking about. "What are you waiting for, Neji? Try now." Quan Yu turned his head and said to Neji. "Well, I see." Neji also knew what he was going to do from the conversation between the two. He didn't know what happened to Tenseigan before, and he didn't worry too much. "Only now did I know that I hadn't contacted Tenseigan. Before Neji was in Mount Myoboku, which belonged to another space, of course he could not contact the giant Tenseigan." Neji closed his eyes. The Tenseigan outside also began to vibrate. Gradually, green chakra began to emerge from Neji's body, and his body floated. A large amount of green chakra enveloped Neji's body and almost dyed him green. Neji's hair is also flying. 1 by 2, and truth-seeking ball constantly popped out from behind Neji. Finally, a circle formed behind Neji. Seeing Quan Yu here, you know that Neji has succeeded. The process went smoothly, and this is also because Neji's Byakugan is his own. Unlike in the original work, Sharon evolved by taking the eyes of others. Neji opened his eyes were also dyed green, and Tenseigan could not be seen for the time being. "Is this Tenseigan? That's amazing," Neji said in surprise. Will Neji fight me again? I'm very curious about the power of Tensigan. Quan Yu smiled. Yes, but it doesn't fit here. Neji looked around. They were in the old castle. No problem. Let's go to Master Kaguya's space, where you can play casually. Quan Yu waved his hand and opened a space door. Neji was taken aback. Haha, without the power of the giant Tensigan, Neji can't exert any abilities. A voice turned around. I don't know when Yui and Kaguya came here with Sharon. Oh, look at me, you have forgotten about it, Quan Yu said awkwardly, clapping his head. Tensigan was not much different from Rinnegan without the help of the giant Tensigan. It's not even as good as Rinnegan, because Tensagan's two special pupil techniques are basically used to control the truth-seeking ball. But with the assistance of the giant Tensigan, this kind of attack formed by directly controlling the truth-seeking ball is quite powerful. In the original book, Zangetsu can even do a sword Zangetsu. However, after that, Neji's original will has reached its limit, and he can also have a powerful chakra himself without passing through the giant Tensigan. It may not be possible to make truth-seeking ball. Neji does not have the power of yin and yang in the 5 elements. But it doesn't matter, Tensigan's truth-seeking ball is not directly consumed. Instead, use the truth-seeking ball to combine to form a powerful attack. Although the truth-seeking ball will still be consumed, most of it is Neji's own chakra. Besides, Neji follows the path of physical art, and Tensigan only makes Neji stronger. Sharon looked at Neji, who was hovering with green flames, slightly envied. But his Byakugan is not pure enough to be able to evolve. Fortunately, his body has been nurtured by Tensigan since he was a child. It has long been Sage body, and even a part of the Tensigan tissue has been integrated, which is similar to a normal Otsutsuki body. It can be gradually strengthened through Quan Yu's breathing method. Then let's go into the universe, Quan Yu said. Now the moon belongs to them, it won't work if it is broken. Neji nodded, he accepted Tensagan's tissue fusion, as well as Quan Yu's cells, without breathing. There is no need to worry about not being able to survive in the universe. We don't have to fly over, it's too much trouble. Quan Yu directly opened a large space-time gate. Then he walked in by himself. Neji, Kaguya and others also followed in. After that, they came to a cosmic space far away from the moon. It was also the first time that Quan Yu came to the universe. He didn't breathe, which made him slightly uncomfortable. Fortunately, he went through an inhuman experience of becoming Tensigan, but he quickly adapted to it. Neji was a little embarrassed, and the lack of oxygen made him very uncomfortable. Although his body had been exercised when he was practicing immortal art, there were still some problems in the cosmic space. However, Neji's physical recovery and adaptability are very strong, coupled with the protection of chakra. Let him adapt quickly. Neji, you need to be more familiar with it. This may be our main battlefield in the future. I don't want to fight in the ninja world, Quan Yu said with a smile. There is no air in the universe, and there is no sound. Quan Yu's voice is transmitted by chakra. No. No problem, I'll be fine soon. Neji clutched his chest, adapting quickly. The yang escape chakra constantly maintains Neji's physical activity, allowing him to survive without breathing. You can even skip meals. After a while, Neji finally adapted. He looked at Quan Yu. I'm ready. Neji, who was wrapped in green chakra flames, stood in the cosmic space, and his robe was also dancing without wind. Kaguya and others are also watching quietly from a distance. Come on. Neji, use your full strength, Quan Yu said while standing opposite Neji. Good, Neji didn't hesitate, he knew that he couldn't hurt Quan Yu. And Quan Yu didn't even summon truth-seeking ball. Because he is now a truth-seeking ball, he doesn't need to be summoned to use it. Neji's eyes condensed. In an instant, the truth-seeking ball behind him was covered with a chakra similar to his body. Then burst out towards Quan Yu, and there are constantly truth-seeking balls around him. And Neji is also constantly moving. Oh, this level of control actually ignores the 70-meter distance limit of the truth-seeking ball. Quan Yu looked at the truth-seeking ball shooting at him in surprise. This should be related to chakra on truth-seeking ball, and more likely to be Tensagan's unique ability. Or because of the giant Tensigan, but now is not the time to consider this. Quan Yu stretched out his hand, and a long stick that also braved the purple chakra appeared in Quan Yu's hand. Then Quan Yu was constantly dancing, and the green truth-seeking ball shot by Neji was constantly knocked out by Quan Yu. Even Tensagan's abilities can be replicated, and it really deserves to be Quan Yu, Yui said in admiration. Tensigan has more than these abilities, it is almost the most powerful eye for truth-seeking ball, and Neji has the help of the giant Tensigan, which is even stronger, Hamura said. The long stick in Quan Yu's hand was danced out of shadow by him. He was born in physical skills, and this kind of attack did not threaten him. Neji's truth-seeking ball was shot out one after another. Moreover, even chakra was broken up and flew back to Neji to supplement. Moreover, the number of Neji's control is also limited, and it is not possible to use a large number of truth-seeking ball attacks at once. This kind of attack is useless to me. Kuan Yu still has time to speak to Neji. His body is blurred. In an instant, the chakra on the truth-seeking ball shot by Neji was completely destroyed by Kuan Yu. Then try this. Neji's figure still kept moving quickly around Kuan Yu. Neji stretched out his hand. 5 truth-seeking balls converge in front of his palm, arranged in a cross shape. Then the green chakra flame ignited again, and it spun quickly. A black wheel was formed, with green chakra surrounding it. It became a green light wheel. Truth-seeking ball shuriken. Hikari was thrown directly at Kuan Yu by Neji. It's interesting, Kuan Yu smiled slightly. This kind of attack further highlights Tensagen's control of truth-seeking ball, and the power is not known how much greater than before. Guanglin directly hit Kuan Yu's long stick, and he was also pushed back a little by the powerful impact. The light wheel kept rubbing on the long sticks wrapped around the purple chakra, making the chakra above it swaying constantly, as if it would be broken at any time. Give me condensate, Kuan Yu's eyes flashed. The purple chakra that originally hovered on the truth-seeking ball instantly shrank and then solidified. The long stick in Kuan Yu's hand instantly turned into a purple long stick. Chakra weapon. Kagaya was a little surprised. Mother, this is? Hamura asked puzzledly. This is a high-quality chakra weapon that can be condensed only by the Otsutsuki branch house that specializes in body arts. However, it takes a long time to complete. The hardness is higher than that of truth-seeking ball. It is almost difficult to damage and can be transformed into any form, Kagaya explained. I just don't know why Kuan Yu can be formed in such a short time. Kagaya was a little confused. Mother, don't forget that Kuan Yu can transform truth-seeking ball into any attribute. He is just letting them transform into his own chakra. It is not difficult to do this with the highly concentrated chakra of truth-seeking ball. It is almost the chakra compressed to the limit, Yui said with a smile. Kagaya nodded. In the past, Kuan Yu transformed the truth-seeking ball into chakra with various attributes, launching a devastating force. But now it's just transformed into chakra without attributes, letting its properties stabilize, and forming a chakra weapon, which is not difficult for him. This form of chakra is stronger and sharper than the weapon formed by truth-seeking ball, but it does not have the annihilation attribute of truth-seeking ball. And in the field, Kuan Yu's body slanted slightly, and the green light wheel rubbed the purple long stick and came to his side. As soon as Kuan Yu turned the long stick in his hand, the tip of the stick directly hit the center of the light wheel. This is the weakest point of the rotation, which Kuan Yu has discovered long ago. The long stick in his hand is also rotating with the light wheel, and it drives the light wheel to change direction. Then with a sudden flick, the light wheel fired in the opposite direction at a faster speed and flew towards Neji. And Neji couldn't control the current truth-seeking ball shuriken at all, and could only slow down its speed slightly and change its direction a little. But the speed of truth-seeking ball's shuriken was so fast that he didn't give him time to react at all. So he immediately stretched out his hand, released multiple truth-seeking balls from the palm of his right hand, and then used both hands to rotate these fairway jade. While spinning, the truth-seeking ball is covered with a layer of green chakra, forming a silver aperture, and then a huge tornado is emitted from the aperture. The truth-seeking ball shuriken was instantly submerged in this storm and disappeared. And Neji slammed it fiercely, and Fengmao drew towards Kuan Yu fiercely like a whip. Silver wheel reincarnation burst. Kuan Yu's eyes narrowed slightly, one of Tensagen's 2 major pupil techniques. The power should not be underestimated. The long stick in his hand instantly turned into a samurai sword, and a layer of golden chakra appeared on the surface. Wind style, the first line, Kuan Yu swung the katana. It seems that the vacuum of the universe is shaking, and a golden light is fleeting. In an instant, the storm was cut directly by Kuan Yu. Skip from Kuan Yu's side. Based on chakra, he used Ultimate's wind attributes to drive these chakras to cut through the storm directly. The katana disappeared in Kuan Yu's hands. A good attack. Most people have no ability to resist in this storm, Kuan Yu said with a smile. It was not easily broken by you, Neji said helplessly. It's great to let me use attributes. In other respects, he is similar to the Otsutsuki clan. The only advantage is the physical skills and attribute control. This also proves that Neji's attack is not weak. There is one last trick left. Do you want to try it? But I can't control this kind of attack, Neji said. Although I don't know how strong you are, you better be careful. Don't worry. I can't take it, don't I know how to hide? Kuan Yu didn't care at all. Of course he knew what Neji's last move was, and that was his purpose in experimenting with Tensagen's abilities. Neji nodded, he didn't think Kuan Yu was so easy to defeat. He can feel that Kagaya and others are almost all headed by Kuan Yu, which is enough to prove how strong Kuan Yu is. Even with the support of the giant Tensagen, he couldn't be Kuan Yu's opponent, and Kuan Yu was not serious at all. Hope this trick can make him serious. Also let yourself see his true power. Neji moved up with one hand, and the green truth-seeking ball gathered in his hand to form a larger truth-seeking ball. Then a golden light rose into the sky. A huge golden lightsaber was formed in space. Neji's hand is on the lightsaber, and the green truth-seeking ball surrounds it. Kuan Yu, are you sure? At this time, Neji was like a god. This sword was too huge, and Kuan Yu looked like an ant in front of it. Yes, it actually partially activated the power of truth-seeking ball. Kuan Yu's eyes flashed. His trick needs to be charged in order to exert the strongest attack power. But for other attribute combinations, Kuan Yu had no direction, which caused him to not fully utilize the advantages of all the attributes of his master. But Neji's golden reincarnation exploded and gave Kuan Yu a chance to learn. This kind of attack is definitely stronger than his general attribute attack. It fills the blank of Kuan Yu in this respect. Hey, maybe you don't know my ability yet, Kuan Yu smiled. Then he also faced the sky with one hand, and a large truth-seeking ball appeared and hovered in his hand, directly igniting the purple chakra. This is... Does he think? Sharon said in disbelief. I'm afraid so. No wonder he would ask Neji to try his tricks, because he wanted to imitate Tensagen's abilities, Hamura said. He wants to maximize the power of his eyes. He can imitate all the attributes of his current master, and almost all the abilities of using chakra to directly attack, Yui said. He also asked Kuan Yu if there are any limitations to this ability, otherwise Kuan Yu with a huge amount of chakra can use almost any ability. Fortunately, there is no such pervert ability, and some special abilities Kuan Yu cannot be imitated. At the same time, he must have the same chakra attributes to imitate. And Kuan Yu's ability to exert this ability to such an extent is entirely due to his own reasons. He mastered all the blood inheritance limits of chakra attributes. Others won't be able to achieve this level even if they have obtained the blue 10-star eyes. The same golden light soared into the sky. Neji looked at this scene in shock. How could Kuan Yu know his moves? Haha, I didn't expect me to do it too, Kuan Yu laughed. He really did it, it's really pervert, Yui said, shaking his head. This is also the case, he has enough confidence to face the Otsutsuki family. If he is given time, he will surpass everyone. No, even now he is almost invincible, Hamura said. Fortunately, he has his persistence and has not abused his power, Yui said. Haha, isn't that why we chose him? He is indeed a very special existence, Hamura smiled. Yui nodded. Come on, let us see its power, Kuan Yu said loudly. Okay. Jinlin reincarnated. Neji had long known that Kuan Yu was very special, and when he was surprised, he didn't care. It is also Kuan Yu who can do this to prove his terrifying strength. Neji was swinging a huge golden sword, and so was Kuan Yu. The two golden swords were not physical, they swung quite fast, and they collided in an instant. The dazzling golden light bloomed, and invisible fluctuations spread in the universe. Huge energy fluctuations are also erupting, forcing Kagaya and others to continue to retreat. Even Kagaya is absolutely uncomfortable facing such an attack. Fortunately, they only faced the aftermath, but just like this, they were also forced to retreat, who were far away. Even in the ninja realm, many people found that a bright star appeared in the sky. A figure suddenly appeared, and he was also looking towards the sky. You can still feel a trace of chakra fluctuations at such a distance. Who is doing it? Has the family come? This person frowned and said in a low voice. But the ninja world was still quiet, and there was no other sign of Otsutsuki coming. The current ninja world made him a little bit unable to understand. Some time ago, the Sky Council also issued an announcement to teach immortality. Let the ant master power? What does Kagaya think? This was somewhat inconsistent with his perception. 10 Tails was activated, and there was no sign of devouring humans. What are they doing? Countless doubts plagued his mind. In the battle between Kuan Yu and Kagaya, he can get very little news. I can only guess that Kuan Yu defeated Kagaya and started cooperation. What he needs to face is still the predicament, and it is even more difficult. The kind of large-scale exploration some time ago also made him afraid to take any action. However, he is now very curious about the fairy art that the Sky Council will teach. According to the news, as long as chakra meets the standard, he can practice directly. This does not conform to his knowledge of Shanshu. It seems that they are masters with some kind of technology. Of course he knows the power of Shanshu, and this may also be their preparation for the Otsutsuki family. I hope those people won't be stupid, just invade directly like this, he said lightly. Even Kagaya of Master Ten Tails is not Kuan Yu's opponent, you can imagine how strong he is. And the fluctuations in the sky are probably caused by him. Look again, I still have time, there is always a chance. As soon as the voice fell, the person suddenly disappeared. The dazzling light slowly disappeared, and Kuan Yu and Neji appeared again. It's just that Neji was a little bit embarrassed, and the green chakra on his body broke apart. Tensigan exuding blue light appeared in his eyes. But Kuan Yu remained unchanged. Kuan Yu, you are amazing. This is almost indistinguishable from my ability. How did you do it? Neji suppressed the fluctuating chakra in his body and looked at Kuan Yu and said. Imitation. This is the ability of my eyes. This pure chakra skill is very simple for me, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Although his eye assist ability is quite pervert, but not too direct attack ability. Neji's golden wheel rebirth burst can be regarded as making up for this shortcoming. Okay. Hurry up and cultivate your body afterwards. You can't resist the aftermath of this attack. Your body is not just a little weaker, Kuan Yu said with a smile. At this time, Kagaya and others saw that the battle was over, and slowly came to them. I tried to use your breathing method to forcibly increase the strength of the body, but it seems that it can't be increased to a certain extent, and it will become weaker if you overuse it, Neji said awkwardly. Haha, how can it be so easy? The method of destroying cells and then repairing is certainly feasible to a certain extent, but due to our particularity, if we destroy excessively, it will only weaken the strength of cells. So I won't be able to do this later. This is a special property I discovered, Kuan Yu said with a big smile. Then how did you improve? Neji asked puzzledly. Kuan Yu's body is definitely much stronger than him, and it is impossible to succeed without hard training. But Kuan Yu said that one cannot achieve strength by destroying cells and allowing oneself to regenerate stronger cells. This makes Neji very puzzled. It's not that you can't make your body strong through exercise, but it has to be a degree. Our body has too strong recovery ability. Once you keep making new cells, you will make your own cells weaken step by step. Yu glanced at Sharon and explained. Sharon and Neji thoughtfully. Maybe I didn't make it clear before, now I'll explain it in detail to you, Kuan Yu continued. My current body cells are first Hokage cells injected with my genes, and they are basically not much different from first Hokage's sage body. But now, my body is definitely stronger than first Hokage in every aspect. The reason for this situation is that my own cells have become extremely powerful and are almost difficult to be destroyed. This requires a special way of cultivation. Kuan Yu explained. What way? Neji asked. Gravity training. Through step-by-step strengthening your own gravity, keep your body's cells under pressure, so that your own cells can adapt and strengthen continuously, Kuan Yu said. That's why. No wonder the Otsutsuki clan also has people who practice physical arts, but no one has ever been able to reach your height, Kagaya said suddenly. If there is no such way, those Otsutsuki can only grow stronger by their own assiduous practice, and it is impossible to take shortcuts. But the kind of cultivation that has been going on over many years is not something that people like them who can easily gain strength can accept, so there is no such thing as a person with a strong physical training base but a level of Kuan Yu. This is a secret, I hope you don't reveal it. Although other Otsutsuki can also find planets with higher gravity and make their bodies stronger, it is also quite dangerous. If you are not careful, you will be crushed. Kuan Yu smiled. It's true, but planets with too high gravity are generally lifeless, and they won't go anywhere. Kagaya nodded and said. But where do we go to find the right gravity? Neji asked. Master Kagaya has a gravitational space. You can adapt to it first, but you'd better be the master bloodline to make faster progress, Kuan Yu said. It's the gravity control of the soil attribute, so that's it, Kuan Yu. You can also cultivate bloodline through this single attribute that you only know, Hamura said. Most people think that bloodline can be synthesized by chakra with two attributes. However, Kuan Yu only cultivates one kind. Yes, there are actually better ways, such as implanting my current cells. The same can be used to master my bloodline. Anyway, Neji also has Tensigan, and there is nothing wrong with suppressing my current cells, Kuan Yu laughed. Neji has already injected his initial cells, and another injection has little effect. It can also master the power of yin and yang in the 5 elements, which is almost a replica of Kuan Yu. But this is also Neji's relationship. He gives his cells everywhere, so who are the children born to these people in the future? I'm afraid Kuan Yu, you are wrong. Yi said, shaking his head. Is there any problem? Quan Yu was puzzled. It is impossible for ordinary people to master too much bloodline, unless it is some special method, such as the power of 10 tails. Your current cells are injected into Neji's body, and backphagy will definitely occur. Other people can't control this kind of cells at all, said. Your current cell is even harder to bear than 10 tails S. Even if you merge the original will to the limit? Quan Yu asked. There is no such good thing in the world. Imagine being as perfect as you. Master's power of yin and yang and 5 elements is not so simple. This is the problem of the soul, not the original will that can make up for it, so you are the most special. I once wanted to try to master the power of the yin and yang in the 5 elements, but I failed. My yin and yang and the 5 elements are still fused together. Essentially, it can only be regarded as a kind of bloodline, not like you can even separate the yin and yang and the 5 elements. Yui explained. That's the case, I thought too simple, Quan Yu said awkwardly. If someone is willing to accept his cell, wouldn't the strong have all gone? How could there be such a pervert thing? But I still have a bloodline before, Neji, you can try it, which has soil attributes, which can help you with the single attribute bloodline of the master soil attribute, Quan Yu said. Neji has not gone through the cultivation of soil properties, and has no knowledge of soil properties. It is undoubtedly the best to use bloodline to understand. But, Master Yuya, Neji has mastered yin and yang, and my bloodline, will it exceed the standard? Quan Yu asked. No, in theory, everyone can master the 2 bloodlines, of course, there may be only one that is too powerful. The yin and yang attributes are the attributes of the birth of their own body and soul, and are not included in it, Yui said. That's it, Neji and Sharon, you can first cultivate the earth attribute, and then I will guide you to cultivate the bloodline of the earth attribute. This kind of bloodline is also very useful in battle, and practicing is good for you, Quan Yu said. Neji and Sharon nodded. Quan Yu said such an important secret in order to help them improve their strength, and then it was up to them. It's still a young man who has vitality, I can't stand this kind of exercise, Hamura said with a smile. You are laughing, Neji has just purified Tensigan, and his physical strength is still a little bit weak. You can wait 2 or 3 years for the original will, Quan Yu said with a smile. Indeed, they have not even fully adapted to their current strength, and it is not suitable to continue to increase their strength. It is not good for them, Yui nodded and said. We still have time. Even if the Otsutsuki family finds out something is wrong here, we won't send many people over at once. We can deal with 1 or 2 groups, Kagaya nodded. That's it, we should also go back now. The people who accept the immortality have come to the Sky City and wait. We also have to prepare. This may be the last time we have appeared in front of people, Quan Yu said. Then Quan Yu turned to look at Neji. Neji, the Sky Council will be handed over to you from now on. I will work hard, Neji said seriously. Don't be too nervous, with the help of the counselors, you won't have too many things. If you want to practice later, you can ask Kakashi to help you locate Kagaya-sama's gravitational space, Quan Yu said with a smile. Most of the things have been resolved, and he will concentrate on cultivating afterwards. Strength is the foundation, and only strong strength can protect the world of endurance from destruction. Quan Yu glanced at the starry sky of the universe. The stars are shining here, and I don't know where the planet belongs to the Otsutsuki clan. I don't know if the Earth where he was in his previous life is also in a certain location. He shook his head. These are not what he should think about now. After solving the Otsutsuki family, he has time to think about them. A space door opened, and there was no one here after a while. Maybe one day there will be another battle here. In the loud horn, countless people were looking forward to it. The crowd was surging under the sacred tree, but they were all blocked by a large number of samurai. I saw their expressions excited, and they kept their feet on their feet and looked around. The samurai stood in 2 paths in the field, leaving a corridor in the middle, connecting a huge open space. The shadows of the 5 ninja villages, dressed in gorgeous costumes, stood there quietly without communicating. They looked solemn and stood upright, as if waiting for something. Among them are Onoki after the resurrection, and Baki who succeeded Gaara Kaiki. Kankuro is still too young, more mature and stable than Baki, and has a better understanding of all aspects. That's why Gaara proposed that Baki take over as Fengying. When the horn sounded, everyone fell silent and looked in the direction of the sacred tree one after another. At the height of the sacred tree, a wooden palace slowly began to emerge there. The 4 figures slowly walked out from inside. It is Quan Yu, Kagaya, Hai, and Hamura. It's pretty grand, Quan Yu said with a smile looking at the neat ninja team below in the crowded audience. He also wore a pure white robe today. This is the beginning of a new era, and it requires a grand ceremony, Yui smiled. Yes, Kuan Yu smiled. Let's go down. The bodies of the four slowly hovered and began to fly downwards. The ground began to vibrate, making those watching the ceremony a little frightened. But they soon saw that countless wooden stakes emerged from the large area of open space that had been set aside, and combined with each other, quickly formed a high platform. And Kuan Yu and several people are slowly falling to the top. Immediately afterwards, click, click, click. The wooden steps quickly extended from the platform to the ground, and the five shadows were facing there. Jung, the sound of a loud sword sounded. A green streamer broke through the clouds from the sky and rushed straight down, bringing up the howling sound of breaking through the sky. Seeing to hit the platform. There was already an exclamation below. But this green streamer stopped steadily on the platform. The green light disappeared, and only one person was stepping on a huge sword, hovering there. It was Neji, and the sword at his feet was given to Neji by Kuan Yu. He didn't need it much. Shanshu award ceremony officially begins. Neji faced the audience. The sound was loud and passed away from afar. There was a burst of cheers from below, and countless petals fell from the sky. With the roar of the salute, the atmosphere on the scene reached a climax instantly. The huge sword at Neji's feet instantly became smaller, and it flew around him for a while, then returned to the scabbard on his back. And Neji's figure slowly fell to the steps on the edge of the platform. Drink. The samurai on both sides of the line immediately drew the katana and held it high in the air. The sound of the sword being unsheathed became one piece. The scene suddenly became quiet. Everyone's eyes were on Wang. Shanshu. I heard that you can live forever. This news came from the Sky Council. As long as we practice enough, the Sky Council will grant immortal arts. It is said that this is because the requirements for the cultivation of immortal arts are too high, and ordinary people simply cannot practice. This is the method that the original four gods found to make it easier for people who meet the requirements to practice immortality. Moreover, the young man who flew with the sword just now was probably a master of fairy arts. It can be changed in size, and flying with the sword, it is very likely that it is the master of the talents of immortal arts cultivation. It is said that this young man is the next speaker. No wonder he is so good. I really want a sword like that. It's so handsome, Naruto said regretfully. Cut. You can just ask Kuan Yu to stop it, Nine Tails said uncomfortably. It doesn't know what the principle of the sword is, but it can sense the yin and yang escape in it. Ah, this. Naruto rubbed his head awkwardly. He had gone to trouble with Kuan Yu before, but he was drawn into the space and gave a severe lesson. Now he saw Kuan Yu and wanted to hide. I don't work hard. Why do I envy others? Sasuke said disdainfully next to him. Why, you can't even be envious. Do you want to fight? Naruto said uncomfortably. I can't beat Kuan Yu. I still don't believe I can't beat you. Cut. I'm always getting stronger, unlike someone. I'm not going to find a girlfriend during this time, Sasuke said with a sneer. How can I be considered free love, better than your arranged marriage? What did you say? Sasuke stared at Naruto fiercely, and Naruto was not to be outdone. Hinata and little Sakura were also whispering, seeing that they were about to fight, and hurriedly tried to dissuade them. Kakashi gave them a helpless look. Are you not up to the standard for cultivating immortality? A voice sounded beside Kakashi. No, although there are tail beasts that have improved my chakra, it is still a long way from the standard. Obito, your chakra should have reached the standard. I can apply for you. Shanshu also has a bonus to wood style. Kakashi turned his head to look at Obito in the black robe. He clearly saw that a strand of white hair had appeared on Obito's kabuto cap. Obviously this is what Kuan Yu said, the consumption of vitality. Do I have this opportunity as a guilty man? Obito's expression was a little dim. Hopefully, what Kuan Yu said is that anyone can grant celestial arts as long as they reach the standard, Kakashi said. He was worried that Obito would die before completing the task. He had worked very hard, but even with the help of his own tail beast, chakra, he was still aging. And immortality can make people live forever. He hopes Obito can get it, and can accomplish his goal faster, revive Lin. Don't talk about it. Someone called me recently, but the identity of the other person is unknown, Obito said. Unidentified? It shouldn't be possible that anyone in the ninja world would dare to resist Izumi, right? Kakashi said in surprise. He knew what Obito was talking about. The other party is very mysterious, can disappear suddenly out of thin air, and there is no spatial fluctuation. I can't keep him, Obito said. This may be a resistance force hidden in the dark, and they should have other actions, Obito continued. I know, I will report to Kuan Yu later. Kakashi was a little solemn. In this case, the forces that dared to resist Kuan Yu were definitely not weak, but there was no news in this regard in the ninja world. This matter must be taken seriously. Let's watch the ceremony, it's about to begin. Obito looked forward. Kakashi also looked over. At this time, the 5 shadows had slowly stepped onto the high platform, and under the guidance of Neji, came to Kuan Yu and the others. The 5 shadows are representatives of the 5 great nations, and it just so happens that they all have reached the standard of cultivating immortality, so they were selected as the representatives of the first grant of immortality. Congratulations, you have taken the first step on the path of immortality, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Wang glanced at each other, and there was a slight excitement in his eyes. Immortality, longevity. This is a gap in realm and a bright road, allowing them to see the direction of progress. You can even pursue immortality and become a true immortal. This is just a special cultivation method that reduces the difficulty of your use and cultivation, but if you want to enter the next level, you must also try to enter sage mode by yourself, Kuan Yu continued. Wu Ying nodded. They knew that they had taken a shortcut, so that they could feel the power of Shanshu in advance. You need to rely on yourself if you want to make progress. Okay. Sign the contract, it's time to let you know the truth. A contract was unfolded in front of 5 shadows, with many characters written on it that they couldn't understand. This made the 5 shadows stunned. Kuan Yu hadn't said this before. I didn't tell you before because you didn't have enough power. In fact, all the members of the Sky Council, including us, have signed this contract. After you inject chakra, you will be able to see the content above, and everyone who grants Shanshu will have to put a name on it in the future. This is also our duty, a responsibility that must be fulfilled. Kuan Yu explained. Wang looked at Kuan Yu and the others, and then injected chakra one after another, and then saw the contents of the contract. Since Kuan Yu said so, they had nothing to hesitate. And these contents surprised them, and they didn't expect that the shinobi world was still in danger. A powerful alien family may invade the ninja world at any time. There are also things they can't understand, such as chakra fruits. It seemed that Kuan Yu and Kagaya had made an agreement, and it had nothing to do with them. Unexpectedly, there is such a thing, Your Excellency Kuan Yu, and Your Excellency Kagaya, can you not solve it either? Terumi Mei frowned and said. Be arrogant, I may have the confidence to face any of them, but their number is not rare, Kuan Yu said with a smile. I see, Tsunade said lightly. Then he directly opened his finger and dropped the name on the scroll. She had already seen the name of the person who had previously lost her name. This contract can only be seen by the most powerful person, and the standard is to reach the standard of being able to practice immortality. This not only condenses strength, but also avoids panic. And after signing the contract, except for Kuan Yu and the 4 of them, no one else can tell outsiders, otherwise they will be bitten by 10 tails. Although I don't understand the effect of this restriction, it is definitely effective for Kuan Yu. Not to mention people like them. Others saw that Tsunade had signed the contract without hesitation, and no longer hesitated. Just like Kuan Yu said, it was their duty to protect the ninja world. They all left their names on it. Then the scroll automatically retracted and fell into Kuan Yu's sleeve. This is a copy, and the real contract is in 10 tails. But the effect is the same, the words signed here will fall on top of the original. Well, this is your seal seed. After dripping blood on it, they will automatically melt into your body to form a unique seal and extract your chakra to form a clone. Kuan Yu waved his hand and 5 small black balls hovered in front of Wang. After that, you will be able to feel the natural energy, and all you have to do is to absorb them and control them in a 1-to-1 ratio with physical energy and spiritual energy to form chakra. As for the way you practice celestial arts on your own, there are records in the contract, and you should also understand. They nodded. There was indeed a record in the contract, and it didn't feel difficult. However, it may be difficult to achieve, otherwise Kuan Yu would not say that. In the future, for those who practice celestial arts, some of the contents of the contract will be hidden, and some of the contents will be known after signing. Kuan Yu is not worried about leaks. Just drip blood on this little ball, so easy. Onoki was a little surprised. Yes, don't look at it small, it is actually a complicated seal formation. This is Master Hamura's masterpiece, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Gokage looked at Hamura, and Hamura smiled gently at them. Teacher, your 100 healings mark overlaps with this one, and I need to erase it for you, Kuan Yu said. Will this? Tsunade looked around hesitantly. Kuan Yu should understand the consequences of the removal of the 100 healings mark. Don't worry, it will be fast, no side effects, please don't resist the teacher. Kuan Yu waved his hand, Tsunade disappeared here, and even the small black ball in front of her disappeared. Then wait for a while. Tsunade appeared here again in an instant, and a cyan diamond mark appeared on her forehead. There is also a border on both sides. With such an obvious change, it is clear that Tsunade has planted the seal seed. Tsunade was a little dazed. She was over before she understood what had happened. She could feel that the seal between her brows was similar to the 100 healings mark, but it was a little different. It seems to have formed a clone of oneself in it, but this clone is restricted and in a special state. Through the transmission of consciousness, she also felt the energy around her body. This might be the natural energy that Kuan Yu said. But it seems that only that special clone can control it, and all she can do is guide the clone to control these energies. You too. Start absorbing natural energy for the first time. It is dangerous. I will help you protect the law, Kuan Yu said with a smile. Hearing Kuan Yu's words, Tsunade sat down cross-legged without hesitation, and began to absorb natural energy. Seeing this, other shadows also dripped blood on the black ball, and then the black ball directly merged into their bodies, forming the same mark as Tsunade on their foreheads. They immediately felt the change and sat down close to each other and began to absorb natural energy. I have to say that the talent of these shadows is still okay. Only Baki made a mistake once, and everyone else went straight into sage mode. Eyeshadow formed on the corners of their eyes, but there was no change in the center of their eyebrows. There is the location where the Shanshu clone exists, and the control is the strongest, so there is no special mark. This is also the characteristic of the sealed seed, which will be the same for everyone in the future. What a powerful chakra, the quality has more than doubled, Fourth Raikage said in surprise. Of course, natural energy is a higher energy than chakra, and of course it will have such an effect, Kuan Yu said. Other movies have also marveled at their own changes. Finally, I will give you a small gift. This is a product researched by the Sky Council. I will give it to you this time. 5 swords appeared instantly, floating in front of the 5 shadows. Is this Neji's sword? Tsunade asked suspiciously. No, Neji is more advanced. The whole body is made of chakra metal, and it is also refined with yin and yang. It is not the same, but this is not bad. It is a new product that our Sky Council has just developed, Kuan Yu explained. Product? Are you going to sell this? Terumi Mei said in surprise. Yes, after all, the Sky Council has no funding source and plans to produce various scientific endurance tools in the future, Neji explained next to him. 5 Shadows was speechless for a while, but the business was definitely good. After all, they knew Shanshu best, and the things they produced were definitely not ordinary. But this sword is not suitable for me. Is there a bigger one? Fourth Raikage looked at the slender flying sword and said. No, these few were made temporarily, and I will use them to advertise for you, Kuan Yu said directly. Wang was silent for a while, and Kuan Yu even figured this out. It can be used by injecting it into chakra. I didn't prepare the manual, but at your level, it shouldn't be difficult for the master to use it. Kuan Yu smiled. Wang couldn't help it, so they all took the sword. After injecting chakra, they felt that a clone appeared inside. Kuan Yu, is this a avatar delivery? Here comes another clone. But they still felt the difference carefully. Somehow, Tsunade touched one of the nodes. The long sword suddenly left its orifice and hovered in the air. She let out a surprise. But in an instant, the long sword continued to move in the air following her command. The other 4 shadows also watched this scene in surprise. They didn't see the chakra thread, it was the sword flying out of thin air. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. In an instant, the long sword split into several, then flew in the sky, and finally turned into smoke and disappeared. The body of the long sword also fell into the scabbard in Tsunade's hand. What an exquisite sealing technique, Tsunade admired. This is designed by Orochimaru. The clone can be connected to the flying sword through natural energy, and the clone can also provide chakra, Kuan Yu explained. In the future, other scientific ninjas will be developed for ordinary ninjas to use, so that they can concentrate on improving chakra's cultivation. Tsunade nodded. From these, she had guessed Kuan Yu's thoughts. He just wanted to let the ninja no longer focus on the training of ninjutsu and skills. First improve chakra's cultivation base, after entering the fairy magic stage, then come to study other things. Nice stuff, I accepted it, and I played this ad too. The long sword in Tsunade's hand was unsheathed again, and she jumped slightly, and the long sword immediately moved to her feet. Then she took her body to float quickly, under a wave of violent chakra fluctuations. Tsunade flew out instantly. This level of operation is not complicated for master medical ninjutsu, who has strong control. This is equivalent to a flying device. It is not difficult to use. The main thing is to have a powerful chakra. Otherwise, it will not reach such a fast speed. So this sword must enter sage mode if it wants to reach the level of flying with the sword. If you don't reach it, you can only use the chakra silk thread to control and play the function of fighting. For example, how many sword clones are shot? The audience below was too far apart, and they didn't know what Kuan Yu was talking about. But they were also surprised to see Tsunade flying fast into the sky and the sword at her feet. Sure enough, you can fly with the sword if you cultivate into a fairy technique. This makes their hearts hotter, and they can't wait to become immortal skills. But chakra's requirements are too high for ordinary people to achieve. And some ninjas who have become Jonin are also excited. They are undoubtedly the closest to the goal. Ha ha ha, fun. This is much better than that flying machine. Tsunade turned around in the sky and then returned to the high platform. The other movies didn't dare to do like Tsunade. She was Kuan Yu's teacher and could do anything, but they couldn't do it. The necessary respect must be given, although Kuan Yu doesn't necessarily care. But this is respect for the strong. Teacher likes it, Kuan Yu certainly doesn't mind at all. Teacher Tsunade also helped him directly put up a live to arouse other people's interest in Shanshu, which is what he needs. But this structure is not complicated. I can imitate it. Do you mind, Kuan Yu? Tsunade raised an eyebrow at Kuan Yu. Teacher, you are robbing business, Kuan Yu smiled. But it's okay, you can all develop similar ninjas, I don't limit this, Kuan Yu said. How much progress they can make if they develop these things will only be great by studying them. Some people will always have more genius ideas. Lay the foundation yourself and guide the direction. It's refreshing, then I'm welcome, Tsunade said happily. This is a lot of income. The other shadows also glanced at each other. They also have ambitions in their eyes. There is still competition among countries, but now it is healthy competition. There is another thing that needs to be dealt with. The tradition of Chunin exams in various countries needs to be preserved, and the rewards are up to you to discuss, Kuan Yu said. This is to reflect the competitiveness of various countries, while also retaining the fighting ability of the ninja. Don't you provide this from the Sky Council? Tsunade asked. Of course it is provided, and even the distribution of some benefits can be determined through the Chunin exam, Neji said next to him. Wu Ying nodded. It is true that some benefits are not easy to distribute, and it is not bad to have this kind of solution. Otherwise, fight again? It might have been wiped out by Kuan Yu before it even started. After this time, Neji will take my place. Kagaya-sama and I, Hakata-sama, Hamura-sama, will no longer appear in front of others, Kuan Yu said. Huh? You are going to retire now, Tsunade said in surprise. The other four shadows were also quite surprised. Of course, our existence still has a certain impact on the development of the ninja world. Externally, I will declare that we have traveled to the universe, Kuan Yu said. This is the reason that they have long thought of. They must hide in the dark so that some problems can be exposed. I see. Although Tsunade was a little regretful, he accepted it. Kuan Yu and the others are already on another level. If they dominate the ninja world, it is likely that some bad influences will appear. Their strength is too strong, so strong that people dare not resist. Okay, we will leave, and the rest will be handed over to you, Kuan Yu smiled and nodded. Then a huge space door appeared behind them. Kuan Yu and the four of them slowly drifted in. Finally, the space door is closed. Next is my succession ceremony, and I invite you all to watch the ceremony. Neji smiled. Wang glanced at each other. Meet the Lord Speaker, they saluted one after another. It made Neji a little awkward, but he quickly calmed down. He now represents a different identity. Members gather, he shouted loudly. In an instant, brush and brush. In an instant, 9 figures fell on the high platform, and a tailed beast stood on their shoulders. They knelt on one knee. Meet the speaker. The voice spread far away, making the audience a little unclear. The original 4 gods have left the world of ninja and traveled in the universe. From now on, I will take over as the chairperson of the Sky Council. Neji's voice sounded throughout the venue. Everyone talked a lot, and they were surprised that Yu Kuan Yu and others left suddenly. Master Kuan Yu also had to choose to leave because he wanted us to develop better, so I hope that you will abandon your previous suspicions and work together. When Master Kuan Yu returns, you can see a more prosperous ninja world. Neji's voice overwhelmed the discussion, and the scene fell silent for a moment. Konoha Hokage meets the chairperson, Cloud Shinobi Raikage meets with the chairperson. Rock Shadow. And the people watching the ceremony below also shouted. Meet the speaker. So far this ceremony has come to an end, and a new era has been ushered in the shinobi world. Kuan Yu retreated behind the scenes and Neji took the lead. The prestige of the Sky Council has not been affected in the slightest, and it is still in full swing. The ninja world has also ushered in a peak of development. At the same time, there are some undercurrents surging endlessly. They are very secretive and hardly known. But still some things have changed. I don't know who fell into whose calculations. A young man suddenly woke up from his sleep. His face was pale, his body was sweating, and his eyes were full of panic. For a long time, his eyes became blank. "Grandpa, what should I do?" Konohamaru said in a low voice. There was also a little sadness in the words. From fifth generation, he learned the whole process of his grandfather's murder of Kuan Yu. He didn't know why Grandpa did this. There was nothing wrong with what Kuan Yu did. He even protected Konoha many times. If it weren't for his grandfather who had been provoking Kuan Yu wouldn't do anything. Master Tsunade told him this personally. And after that, he pierced Kuan Yu's eyes in the most crucial battle, although Kuan Yu recovered by himself. But who knows before it can be restored, and what will happen if it can't be restored? Konohamaru got up and got out of bed and looked at his room that was less than 50 square meters. Since his grandfather defected, the entire Sarutobi family's property has been taken over. Even his young master must rent a house. He didn't care about this. From the documents he signed, he saw how huge the interests of their Sarutobi clan encroached on. He could only silently leave his name on this. And he, the young master of the Sarutobi clan who has died in name, can't even write the word Sarutobi. People of other ethnic groups were also treated with cold eyes by other villagers. And his task is to re-lead the Sarutobi clan, obtain the approval of the Sky Council, and restore the clan name. It's not that no one wants to resist, but he suppressed these. Rebelling means looking for death. He couldn't know this more clearly. Although few people knew Kuan Yu's power, he seldom showed it. But from the attitudes of the 5 great nations, he is invincible, not to mention the legendary Yue goddess, the 2 brothers of Sage of 6 Paths, Kuan Yunung and them are called the original 4 gods. That is certainly not simple. He can only practice hard now, striving to find a way to make up for his grandfather's sins after granting the fairy. Konoha's distrust of them now makes it difficult for them to make merits. Konohamaru put on his clothes, cleaned up and went out. "Konohamaru." A voice came. Konohamaru turned his head and smiled on his face. Fortunately, his 2 friends who had grown up playing with him did not alienate him. Let him have some comfort in his heart. "Udon, cute yellow, you are here," Konohamaru said with a smile. "Of course, we have to work hard. Tsunade-sama's flying sword looks so handsome." Meng Wangshuang wanted to shine. "That is, we must strive to practice immortality as soon as possible," Wudong also looked forward to. Konohamaru looked at the long sword behind the 2. It was a scientific ninja produced by Konoha, which was worse than the Sky Council's. After all, they are expensive and the materials are better used. This kind of flying sword has almost become the standard equipment for ninjas. Although there are other similar weapons, the flying sword is the best-selling. But he couldn't afford it. In addition to living, he had to help some tribesmen with the money for the task, and there was no way to buy it. Udon and Mengwang wanted to get together for him, but he refused. The chakra of an ordinary ninja is not enough to use the flying ability of the sword, and the ordinary sword can still do it. Moreover, the newly developed technology can achieve the short-distance control of ordinary ninjas, and it is a particularly practical weapon. "Let's go. Let's go to the old place to practice," Konohamaru smiled. It has been several years since the original 4 gods taught immortality, during which some people were awarded immortality. And the true power of Shanshu was also demonstrated by them. Almost people who practiced Shanshu, ordinary ninjas, were basically not their opponents. This is a qualitative gap, strong in all directions, and this is not the end. And he was about to reach the standard, and soon he could go to the Sky Council to be awarded the fairy art. In the past few years, his chakra has improved very fast, and he doesn't know the reason. It seems that it was after a coma after practicing excessively. His chakra has been improving, and soon, he will reach the standard of practicing immortality. Time is getting late. "Konohamaru, let's go back," Mo Huang opened his eyes and said. Now the ninja world is basically peaceful, and the tasks of the ninjas are much less, but the number of ninjas is increasing rapidly. Even the high-level people in the country who are talented in ninjutsu are practicing, but they have only one goal: longevity. This is a temptation that many people cannot refuse. The emergence of scientific ninjas also reduced the difficulty of ninja training, so you only need to focus on improving chakra. But there are naturally problems in combat, and the ninjas who learned later are obviously not as powerful as the ninjas before. But this is only a stage. After the cultivating immortal, he can still quickly make up for it and become stronger quickly. And because of Sage Mode, the practice is faster. "You go back first. I will continue to practice for a while," Konohamaru said with a smile. He didn't feel that he had reached the limit, he could continue to practice. He also has to fight for time to reach the standard early. There are not many people in the ninja world who have become immortal techniques. Everyone who has become immortal techniques will be valued by various countries and even the Sky Council. More important positions will also be delegated. For the Sarutobi family, he must also work hard. Don't work too hard. With your talent, you will be able to reach the standard soon. I really envy you for having such a good talent, Meng Huang said. Of course they can feel the powerful chakra fluctuations that Konohamaru exudes when he practices. This amount is definitely not far from the practice of immortality. Yeah, soon, I will be able to go to see Naruto's elder brother at that time. I didn't even go to his wedding. Konohamaru was a little regretful. At that time, he was on a mission outside, and he had no chance to pass. When he came back, it was all over. When the time comes, we will say hello to Naruto, and he won't come to Konoha to see us, Meng Huang said unwillingly. He is now a member of parliament and has a lot of things to deal with. I heard that he seems to be going to be a father, so I haven't had time to congratulate him, Konohamaru said with a smile. Okay, if you continue to practice, we won't bother you, remember to go to bed early, Meng Huang said. Well, I got it. After that, Konohamaru was the only one left here. Time passed slowly. Konohamaru felt that he had almost practiced, and he was ready to end today's practice. He opened his eyes, but the sight in front of him made his pupils shrink. There was a person standing not far in front of him, looking at him facelessly. And he didn't even know how the other party appeared next to him. Who are you? Konohamaru instantly turned over and squatted, and took out kunai from his ninja bag. Looking at each other vigilantly. This man was wearing a white robe, his body was slender, and only a bunch of hair was left on his smooth head. There are some black marks on the head. I am the one who brings you strength.